Downtown Bakersfield was left out of California's latest list of proposed opportunity zones. The program gives tax breaks to investors who put money into certain areas. City and county leaders say the first round helped to bring new housing and other projects downtown. They're asking the U.S. Treasury to include downtown Bakersfield before the final list is approved later this year. Out of 27 areas proposed in Bakersfield, only a handful moved on for further consideration. A woman accused of vandalizing the Kern County Veterans Memorial is headed for a mental competency hearing. Marina Leanne Smith has pleaded not guilty to felony vandalism charges. Police say she smashed part of the memorial's glass sculpture and damaged another county building. A judge will decide whether she's mentally able to understand the case and help with her defense. Several Bakersfield school districts started classes today, including the Bakersfield City School District and Kern High School District. That means heavier traffic around campuses during the afternoon pickup. Drivers should plan for another traffic headache tomorrow morning. Highway 58 will have repeated 10-minute closures between Mohawk Street and the southbound 99 connector from 8 until noon. The closures are for construction work, and drivers should expect delays or plan on using another route. Kern County Animal Services is holding a public safety meeting tonight about loose and dangerous dogs. It runs from 6 until 9 at Rusty's Pizza on Olive Drive. And temperatures are moving in the right direction. Bakersfield near 100 today with highs in the mid-90s expected Thursday and Friday. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those streaming on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at KERNradio.com, and the host doesn't have a phone. Yes, he does. We got a busy broadcast, sans absolutely no guests. No guests. Ben Alsteins, Jennifer and Ryan will be joining us next week. And in the meantime, there is a lot going on. We will delve into several of the 6 primaries that took place last night, where Ralph Bailey, the political guru, the self-described, self-anointed political guru, was incredibly right and incredibly wrong. The brother in Milwaukee beat the Democratic Socialists. We'll delve into that and the Minnesota race and where I was right, Mike Lindell, the pillow grifter, the con man, the liar, the election denier, got his ass beat. Not only did he lose 43-32, but what do you think, Chris, was the first words out of his mouth?
Rigged election?
Totally rigged.
Yeah.
The Republican Party is trying to cheat me. And if he takes it to court, you know what the judge is going to say? Mr. Lindell, I'm going to have to throw this out. Why, Judge? Why? Well, sir, I've done a little research, and I've discovered that the Democrats would have paid to have you be the nominee. So you're therefore saying, sir, that it's your party that cheated you? The Republicans are involved in voter fraud? Is that what you're saying, sir? Say it out loud so the whole world can hear you, that the Republican Party is the one involved with fraud. Is that what you're saying, sir? Because the Democrats would have got a limo and got you to the polls. Are you kidding? I loved that because I was so afraid P.T. Barnum was going to win, and he got his ass kicked. And in typical fashion, he claimed fraud. And get ready, because this ain't the first time you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that in November. You're going to hear that in 28. Get ready, because that's going to be the pleas of the Republican Party, unfortunately, at least a segment of those election deniers. Some you can hear on this very radio broadcast, on this very station, election deniers, people that are either lost their minds or are simply dishonest. It's one of the two. There's no third category. There's no fraud. The Republican Party didn't cheat you, Mike. Just get so frustrated. What else is going on? There's local stuff going on. I don't know if you saw this, and I told you I was getting nervous when it was taking the Estrada jury so long to deliberate. They went in on Thursday, and when I got back from vacation on Monday, they were still deliberating. And I was like, uh-oh, y'all. Uh-oh. And I'm sure, as most of you know, this morning, a judge declared a mistrial. Thank you, Cynthia Zimmer and the district attorney's office. They put up 2 degrees of murder and I guess allowed the jury to figure it out, and they couldn't, which raises a good question. I'll ask you, Mr. Burdick, get into the broadcast here. We're just getting started. Do you think it was premeditated? He gets drunk. His wife is asking him to sign the divorce papers. She's at her father's house trying to escape this guy. He goes over and barges in on the graduation party that he was told not to come to. They get into a fight. He slits her throat. See, I don't even know how the DA's office could have even presented first degree. Because first degree essentially means he was at his apartment and he said, I'm getting in my car, I'm going to my father-in-law's house, and I'm going to kill my ex-wife. And I don't think that's what happened.
Right.
I don't think that's what happened at all. I think he was a drunken idiot, is a drunken idiot who was frustrated. I told you the very same thing that happened in the OJ case. Instead of a graduation party that they kicked him out of, it was a ballet recital that OJ barged into, and Nicole wasn't happy about it. And Nicole said, well, he said, what are y'all doing? We're going to La Luna for dinner. I'll meet you there. And she was like, oh, no, you're not. No, we don't want you there, Orenthal. No. And I'm sure that's what happened in this situation, where he was told not to come to his son's graduation party, leave me alone, just sign the papers, get out of our lives. And he was like, screw that, and kill this woman. But I just think it's inept of our DAs. Why would you give them first degree when you really think that's a stretch at best? Second degree is a slam dunk. He did it in front of his children, or at least one of the children. I don't know. I just, Lord have mercy.
I don't know. One of the main things for me is, did he bring the weapon that he used?
It was a pocket knife.
But he brought it himself.
Yeah, but you could say, I carry this pocket knife with me 365 days a week.
That's fair.
It's not like it's a murder weapon that he brought a hatchet with him. You know what I'm saying?
True. But I'm also thinking in my head, if you brought the weapon with you, there at least had to have been some sort of contemplation that you could have gone down that route. But again,
see, pocket. It's been my experience, and I think you're not old enough because your generation didn't really deal with pocket knives.
No, well, I mean, yes and no.
My generation, in the 70s and the 80s,
yeah, they was all the rage.
Everybody had in fact, they'd have it on a little chain and show it off. So it was common for guys to carry a pocket knife.
My buddies were always
hence the term, pocket knife. Just keep in my pocket all the time.
My buddies were always into them, but no, they weren't like a huge thing for me or my generation. So that's fair. But again, if you brought a knife with you, fully knowing you were frustrated and drunk, there could be an alleyway there, I guess. But
for premeditation? Well, apparently not, because the jury couldn't make up their mind, and the judge declared a mistrial, so they got to do it all over again. And, maybe in the long scheme of justice, that's not a big deal, but imagine if you're the Estrada family. Well, not the Estrada family, that's his family, but imagine if you're the young girl's family that's been dealing with this. You've buried your daughter. Her children don't have a mother. Their children are orphans because he's going to jail one way or the other. And you've been dealing with this, and you thought it was finally coming to a close. There's no question he's about to go to jail. He did it in front of my granddaughter. And all of a sudden you hear, we got to do it again? We've got to go through this again? That's just god awful. And a situation up in Tehachapi has further exacerbated the Zach Scrivener case. Did you guys hear about this? Up at the Tehachapi Unified School District, we've been telling you about the Timothy Simmons case, the PE teacher that was molesting children at like 3 different elementary schools. Well, get this. Roxana Romero, the personnel administrator for the district up there, the TUSD, the Tehachapi Unified, is been arrested. Why? Because there were a number of reports that was going on with Timothy Seaman, and she did nothing. She's a mandated reporter, and she did nothing. Which highlights 2 recent current events, fairly recent. The one that's most obvious that I'm assuming almost all of you are thinking about right now is Kathy freaking Scrivener. How the hell is Roxanne Romero in handcuffs and Kathy Scrivener is going to school board meetings? When we recently found out from Christina Scrivener, because I don't know about y'all, maybe it's just my own ignorance and not following up on the story, but I always assumed that Kathy Scrivener showed up at the house after the fact. And that's when she illegally told her grandchildren not to talk to the cops. We recently found out, oh, here comes my favorite part of the day. Please stand by. I need some music for this. Give me something. I don't know, give me some Stevie Wonder or something. And she just refuses to look over here, Chris. You know she does that on purpose. You know that, right? Because sometimes she looks over and then sometimes she don't. And then one time I waved and she freaked out and was like, she didn't know whether to wave back or, oh, you can shake your head all you want. I'm old man. What do you want from me? This just makes no sense. And it just highlights not only the fact that Kathy Scrivener is walking around free and hasn't been charged with a crime, even though she committed one. And that's not according to Ralph Bailey. That's according to, what's that fellow's name? Donnie Youngblood. So don't go around saying Ralph Bailey says Kathy Scrivener should be in jail. No, I'm quoting the sheriff. So let's make that clear. But it also exacerbates the Child Protective Services situation. You remember them, Lito Murillo, the head of DHS, who came on this very broadcast, post-Genesis Mata, the 8-year-old who was tortured to death in a local hotel about 1.5 miles from here, post that event, came on this show, and when asked, what grade would you give your department, he said, I'd give us an A. No room for improvement. We deserve an absolute A. Now you say, well, what, Ralph, what does that have to do with what's going on in Tehachapi and this mandated reporter? Because they received 20 phone calls. Not a couple like in the case of Roxanne Romero, who's going to jail, probably. She's been arrested. I don't know if she's going to be convicted, most likely. But with Child Protective Services, there were 20 calls. 20. And Lito Murillo still has a job. Walk me through that. Walk me through that. How, if you're a mandated reporter working for a school and people tell you that a child is being abused and you do nothing, you go to jail. But if you're the head of Child Protective Services and you get 20 different pieces of information that Genesis Mata is not coming to school, when she does come to school, she's got bruises on herself, and you do nothing to remove her from that family, and you still got a job. Roxanne Romero is possibly going to jail. That's horrible. She's about our age, wasn't she? My old general manager is calling me. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about this. Let me put this on hold, what I was about to say. It's in regards to the death of my dear friend, Danielle Buckley. I know how she died, but I'm not sure I'm supposed to talk about it. So I got to hold on. It's a horrible story. She was 64 years old and just a wonderful, wonderful person. Just a really, really very, 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 very sad. Let's go ahead and take a break. We are late, just getting started on this Wednesday. When we come back, we'll get into the elections last night. David Crowley, a Milwaukee County executive, the brother, the so-called moderate. See, that's what's so incredible what's going on in the Democratic Party. So now the woke progressives are considered the moderates because the left of the Democratic Party is so freaking out there. They're in the bullpen. They're not in left field. They're in the They're in the parking lot. They're not even in the bullpen at Dodger Stadium. They're in the parking lot. They're so far in left field. You know what I'm saying? They're down on the freeway, down on the 10. They're not even on Stadium Way. They're so far left, which makes the former far left, the progressives, the moderates. Because David Crowley is a lot of things. He's a brother, he's a county executive, but to call him a moderate is crazy. Crazy. And he's going to have a tough time against the Republican in the general. But the news is the Democratic Socialists got our ass beat. We'll get into that after the break. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
The state of California needs money because of the way we've been spending our Medicare money. They decided that we need to talk to you guys about this. How about if we withhold $867 million from you? Will that get your attention? You now have the Trump administration, and they have greater expectations of you. So if you can't deliver, they ain't going to deliver either.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You like playing around in the kitchen? Well, you've got to check out on Instagram Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen vignettes. Tiny little vignettes, many of them with Gino showing you how to cook different dishes with some of the elements that are in the delicatessen. And now he's got some of the other personnel doing it as well. They're incredibly well done, and they can break down some of the great stuff that they do right at Luigi's. And again, if you're a foodie, the delicatessen's got to be your first stop. I mean, they've got everything. I've got some of the Luigi stuff in my kitchen. I use it when I cook as well. And again, I've told you about the deli, the merchandise, the merch for kids coming up for birthdays or anniversaries or whatever. And then check out the patio. The misters are out there. It's a wonderful afternoon. Where would you rather be? But again, stop in the deli, say hello to Lynette, try one of her Italian wines. Where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
And we're back.
We are back.
August is here.
Finally, August.
Pools are open.
Unbelievable.
Spray parks are open, keeping cool.
4 shopping months till Christmas.
Speaking of that, why, if you go to a big box hardware store, they have Halloween stuff.
Yeah, already.
Seriously, come on out to California Fruit Depot. That's why we're here.
Please
we're
do,
advertising at California Fruit Depot. Phenomenal shakes, smoothies, fresh fruit, nuts, vegetables.
Nuts. Come get your nuts.
Yeah, come on out. But I want to thank everybody for our 4th of July Fan Fest that we had. 20 to 25,000 people.
25. The Highway Patrol estimate, I don't remember.
That was a good time.
It was amazing.
And the big question of the day was, why don't people carve watermelons? I mean, that is an age-old question.
It is a very good question.
Come on out to California Fruit Depot. Let's talk about it in depth.
Yeah.
And seriously, let's start carving watermelons. Spray a little bug spray like off in there, and you're not going to attract anything.
Perfect.
Good to go.
119.
Google us, California Fruit Depot. Come on out. We're local.
See ya.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show.
starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
There were 6 states that had primaries, but all eyes were on 3: Minnesota, Wisconsin, and South Carolina. Down in South Carolina, Darlene Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham, whose seat she's trying to fill, endorsed by President Trump, did in fact get into the primary runoff. However, I was wrong. I told you, well, I was right and I was wrong. I told you it was going to come down to either Mark Sanford, the former governor, or Ralph Norman. And we sat here and actually contemplated on the show. I kind of went back and forth, and is it going to be Norman? Is it going to be Sanford? And I finally said Sanford, and it was Norman. And I should have gone with Norman. I can't believe I went with. I think I went with Sanford because he was statewide, and he was a fairly popular governor. While Norman, who was incredibly popular, just represented a small district in the state. So I went with the odds, but I think she's going to win that. Ralph Norman is incredibly popular down in South Carolina. It'll be fascinating. I'm assuming that the president will endorse her again. He's good friends with Norman as well, but he endorsed her in the primary, so I assume he will do so again. The other huge race that everybody was looking at, however, was out of Wisconsin, where David Crowley, as I mentioned at the top of the show, a Milwaukee County executive who was endorsed by the governor, Tony Evers. 800,000 votes cast, Chris. How many votes do you think he won by? And you won't come within 5,000 votes.
I was going to actually stick around 5,000 if I'm being honest, but.
Well, say what you said. Give me an answer.
No, I'll give you 5,000 votes.
That's pretty damn close. That's what I said. 4,000.
Wow.
He won by 4 out of 800,000 cast. He won by 4,000 votes. That's close. And it was an interesting night to watch. You know me, I'm a geek. I love election nights. I was going between John King and it's not Ari Fleischer, it's Nick Ragone's guy on MSN Now. MSN now has, everybody's got the board. Everybody's got the board. Steve Karnacki on NBC and John King on CNN, and now
Melber?
Ari, no, he's a former CNN guy. He was good friends with Ragone. I can't remember his name. But anyway, everybody has the big board, and they were going county by county and showing us how she won and how she lost. She lost because black folks didn't support her. That's how she lost. As I've talked about, black folks are the foundation of Democratic success. You can go look this up because y'all are going to be like, what? The Democrats have not won the white vote since 1964. Since Lyndon Johnson was the last time they won the white vote in the presidential election, meaning that black Democrats are the base of the Democratic Party. And when a Democratic candidate doesn't get the black vote, they lose. And she didn't. She got, as I talked about yesterday, the age group from 19 to 30, she got like 75% of the vote. Older folks, minorities, they don't play that democratic socialist crap. They just don't. They really, really don't. A, the old folks have seen it before and know it doesn't work. And B, I don't know what black folks' aversion to democratic socialism is. They really don't, but they're not buying it. Not in New York, not in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. And so now Crowley will go up against Tom Tiffany, congressman, for that state's governorship, and I don't think Crowley has a chance in hell. I don't think he has a chance in hell. He only got 39% of the vote. And are her people, are Hong's people going to turn out for Crowley? Meantime, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan beat Representative Angie Craig up in Minnesota. And do you know who she will be going up against in the Senate race? Chris Burdick, sports guy. And that was a clue.
Oh, probably Tuberville then, right?
Michelle Tafoya.
Oh, Tafoya.
You remember Michelle Tafoya?
Forget for Tafoya.
She was an incredible football reporter for ESPN. She'd been there for like 20 years, inexplicably retired because she's still a good-looking woman. And you're like, that's a great job. Why would you quit? Because you wanted to get into politics. And I was wondering why she was constantly on Fox and a regular and just talking politics. And lo and behold, she won 52% of the vote in the Republican primary last night in Minnesota. And she's going to take on Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. I don't think she has a very good chance.
No?
Only because Flanagan is another one of these progressives that's so far left. It's nuts. And Minnesota is kind of a purple state, but going up against a popular lieutenant governor and you've got zero political experience, that's a tough haul. That's a tough beat.
If Tafoya loses, you go back to the NFL.
Go back to Fox.
Yeah, go back to Fox.
Go back to Fox. And Lisa DeMuth, Speaker of the Minnesota House, defeated Mike Lindell 43-32. She will take on Amy Klobuchar. That's going to be another tough race in Minnesota. But I'm just so happy that Mike Lindell. You know who loves Mike Lindell? Kathy Abernathy. She thinks the world of this guy. And I tried to tell her, Kathy, you're misguided. This guy is a crook. He's a grifter. He's a con man. He's dishonest. He's an election. Anybody who's an election denier. I mean, the guy had been defeated in like 4 hours and was already crying foul. Like, based on what? You just lost like an hour ago. But it's, ripped right out of the Trump playbook. If you lose, claim fraud. Quick timeout. We head into the back half of the hour. We will get into the Lakers sale and some other things after the break. Don't go anywhere.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will be leaving the Trump administration at the end of the month to spend time with her young family. The 28-year-old Leavitt called it a bittersweet decision in a social media post Wednesday, shortly after President Trump announced she'd be stepping down. She is the youngest person in history to hold the role and recently gave birth to her second child. Severe storms have wreaked havoc across the Midwest, causing tornadoes, heavy rains, and flash flooding. First responders and utility crews have been working to clear roads and restore power to hundreds of thousands of customers. A 4-year-old boy died in Indiana when a tree fell on a home. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 21 points. The Nasdaq rose 143. The S&P advanced 20. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Rob Archer. Bakersfield leaders are pushing to get downtown added back into a federal program designed to encourage private investment. Downtown was left out of California's latest list of proposed opportunity zones. The program gives tax breaks to investors who put money into certain areas. City and county leaders say the first round helped bring new housing and other projects downtown. They're asking the U.S. Treasury to include downtown before the final list is approved. Drivers should expect delays on the Highway 58 tomorrow morning. There will be repeated 10-minute closures between Mohawk Street and the southbound 99 connector from 8 until noon. And Kern County Animal Services is holding a public meeting tonight about loose and dangerous dogs. It runs from 6 until 9 at Rusty's Pizza on Olive Drive. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom. News every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
You know what you can trust? The protection you get when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive. You know what you can't trust? Everything else, apparently. Like when you saw that article that said that thing you eat every day is a superfood and great for your gut health. But then 30 seconds later, a different article warns you to avoid it and it's taking years off your life. Well, which is it? Kind of a big difference there. Anyway, bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive for reliable coverage in a reliably unreliable world. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The Colonel is the king of chicken. That's why he's always had a beef with beef. But on Wednesdays, he's squashing the beef by frying it. KFC Country Fried Steak is here for only $4.99. Crispy golden outside, tender steak inside. Served with peppery gravy, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, and a biscuit. At last, the Colonel and beef buried the hatchet. in gravy. Get the $4.99 country fried steak Wednesdays for a limited time only at KFC.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will talk mental health with our friend Dr. Corey Gonzalez, who will come in bringing burritos in probably some form of AI advertisement. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
There's nothing more rewarding than doing a show from 3 to 6 in the afternoon and then going home and listening to a lot of the news shows and hear them echoing basically what I earlier in that day, because all last night, Abby Phillip and the other girl was how in the world did the Secret Service allow senior White House staff, military officials, and the entire Washington press corps, White House press corps, to be pawns in their game to keep the president safe? And you say, well, Ralph, you talked about that yesterday. And you're right. The news story is we've now found out that guess who was on the Duke plane, the Roost, the plane that everybody thought was going to get shot down by some kind of, shoulder rocket propelled missile or something. Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, who was in the line of secession. Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, was on the plane, along with Stephen Miller, one of the president's favorite consultants and advisors. I mean, there's a part of me that starts to think maybe it is a cult. Because if I'm Marco Rubio, if I'm Stephen Miller, if I'm Scott Bessent, I want to punch somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello? You couldn't have taken us with you? Like, what if it had been shot down, Mr. President? None of us would be here. And you'd have a tough time confirming another Secretary of State, another Secretary of Treasury, I'll tell you that, boy. And Miller would be like, yeah, and you never find a consultant like me who's going to lie like I do. It is a crazy, crazy story. And the story is not the manipulation of the truth in terms of shuttling the president from here to there. That's common. I told you the famous one, the most famous one, and it was rewarding to hear not only one or two pundits allude to this last night, because I alluded to it yesterday, but 9/11, where they took him, again, I can't remember whether it was a Louisiana or an Arkansas base, and they kept telling him, he kept insisting, we're going back to the White House, and the Secret Service kept saying, you're not, Mr. President, you're not. And the point I was trying to make is the Secret Service are the only people that can tell the president what to do. But in this situation, the president overruled them, which is incredibly rare. And he said, no, we're going back to the White House. There's no way I'm going to address the nation from a military base in either Arkansas or Louisiana. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to do it from the Oval Office. And in fact, they relented. But that's they did it with Obama. They did it with Clinton. Anytime you travel in hostile areas, they don't screw around with that security. The issue, however, is quite obviously, how could you leave those people so susceptible? If in fact you thought that there was a legitimate threat that this plane was going to go down, how did you let your Secretary of State and your Secretary of Treasury get on that plane? And what kind of relationship do they have now? You know what I'm saying? like if Chris and I were going to a football game, let's say we're doing a football game, and we've got two vans. I'm going to take one van, and Chris is going to take the other van. And we get to the thing, and I'd say, Chris, the brakes don't work. And Chris says, yeah, I know that. I knew that. Well, then how the hell could you let me drive all the way to Ashby with no brakes? That's essentially the same thing. It's a weird comparison, I realize, but it's the same thing. Mr. President, how could you let us get on that plane when you knew that there was a threat that could be blown up? Now, maybe he could, say, hey, I had nothing to do with it. I got on the plane. Next thing I know, I was in a catering cart. It's all up to the Secret Service. But to find out that there was that high level members of the cabinet on that plane is kind of, it's just shocking. It's just weird. It's very, very strange. Meantime, as somebody noted in the chat room, they thought I was going to lead with this. There's news out of the White House. Carolyn Levitt, who just returned to her office as press secretary, is retiring. As I said, she just had a baby. It's her second baby with her husband, who's my age. Not making that up. And I don't think, what did we figure out? She was 30? Yeah, she's 30. She's married to a dude, which means she married him when she was like 26. This is their second kid. Lucky son of a...
She's 28, actually.
She's 28.
She hasn't even hit 30 yet.
I don't even know what it's like to touch 28-year-old skin. I don't mean to get creepy, but I don't even know what 28-year-old skin feels like. I really don't. Chris was feeling me up a couple of minutes ago, but other than that, he's 31.
Easy on that.
He had to cut I got a new pair of pants and the pockets were sewed together and Chris had to feel my butt. He didn't have to, but I think he enjoyed it. Cut open my back pocket. But, and then there's the Lakers sale, which is funky as hell. Don't you think?
No, this is funky. I've said the same thing.
Because what you need to know, you say, Ralph, what's funky about it? The man made $2.5 billion. Mark Water, the head of Walter. What did I say? Walter. Mark Walter. Part of the Guggenheim Group that owns the Dodgers and several other entities, obviously, bought the Lakers 9 months ago for $10.5 billion. Sold it to Jared Kushner's brother and Bob Iger, former head of Disney, ESPN, etc., CEO, for $12.5 billion. So you say, Ralph, what's the mystery? The man made $2.5 billion in 9 months. First of all, you really think Mark Walter needs the money? What can you buy with $15 billion that you can't buy for $2 billion? You know what I'm saying? I guess a spaceship or the Pacific Ocean. I don't know what. I mean, once you're in the 8-figure category, really? So your thesis is, for those that believe that he sold it for money, that he made this intricate, complex deal with the Lakers just so he could make $2.5 billion? Okay, I'll accept that. Let me ask you this. What the hell do you think the Lakers are going to be worth in 5 years? 5 years? What do you think they're going to be worth in 24 months? If you can sell them on August 12th, 2026 for $12.5 billion, on August 12th, 2028, you could probably get 15 to 16.
So the same thing.
So it's not about money. It's got something to do, and I know this is crazy speculation, but in my opinion, it's got something to do with this federal probe that the SEC and the federal government is involved with Mark Walter. That's all we've heard about.
Exactly what I said too.
We haven't heard any specifics, what it's about. What is it? The Dodgers? Is it some corporation? Is it his taxes? But we know for a fact that the feds are examining this guy. And then all of a sudden, after owning one of the premier franchises in all of sports, not basketball, in all of sports, and you're just going to sell it for a song? Okay, granted, we're talking about real money, $2.5 billion he made, but I just can't believe he bought the Lakers to sell them, because that's what it would amount to. And I was talking to a buddy, I was talking to Chet this morning, and he was like, well, Ralph, sometimes, you know the words, they make an offer you can't refuse. And I said, yeah, that's true, Chet, but it's a stupid play. Why? I mean, why now? I don't know what, because LeBron, and you know what Chet's thesis was?
Is LeBron left?
Yes.
No.
And I was like, you have lost your mind.
Has nothing to do
And
with
he said, and he had a good argument, though. He had a good argument. He said, do you know what the opening game of the season is?
Knicks and Sixers. True.
That's exactly what I said, rolling my eyes on the phone. Yes, it's Knicks and Sixers, and yes, it's LeBron. And he said, do you think that it would have been Knicks and Sixers had it not been LeBron on the Sixers? I said, no. And he said, that's part of it. I said, please. What, do you think the Lakers would have been on?
No.
And he was like, it's LeBron.
No, Lakers and
I'm
Knicks
like,
would not have been the opening night.
No way in the world.
They would have done Knicks and Thunder before they did that.
Or Knicks and hell, do what the NFL does.
Yeah, do a championship
Spurs.
rematch. Absolutely.
Knicks Spurs. That's big box office.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this has to do with that federal probe.
It
They
has
found something. He didn't he's doing something either to pat his own butt with money so he can fight this.
Exactly.
Or he's
Exactly.
cutting his losses so when they do come forward with all this stuff, it's not going to bite him as much.
I think it's the former. I think he needs the cash. I think he realizes that he's in deep water and that he's going to have to pay. You know, I mean, imagine the rumor around town is that Zach Scrivener or his family or Cynthia or somebody paid H.A. Sala about $500,000 to get him off the hook. So if H.A. Sala demands $500,000 in Bakersfield, what do you think New York or where would it be out of? Probably be
LA,
out
probably.
of, it'd probably be out of Los Angeles. What do you think an L.A. corporate attorney is going to charge him? Are you kidding me?
Now, the real question I'm curious about is how is this going to affect his ownership of the Dodgers and every other sports organization?
Well, it all depends on what the probe is. The probe
Right.
could be about the Dodgers. It could be all about how they've handled the Dodgers and how they've deferred the money. I mean, you know, their financial shenanigans, manipulations are very intricate, very complex. And did they break the law? And some of the deferments that they made, or who knows? It could, for all we know, it could have something to do with Shohei.
True.
It could have something to do with that damn gambling kid. Who freaking knows? And I'm not going to speculate, but I am going to speculate. There's no way in the world Mark Walter bought the Lakers to sell them 9 months later.
There's no way the
No way.
NBA would have signed off on that.
Yeah,
They would
no
have
way.
snuffed that out so quickly.
No way.
And they're going to be pissed about having to pass in 2 new owners a whole year later. Like the owners aren't going to be okay with that.
I don't know.
They're going to accept it. I'm not saying they're going to say no to Bob Iger, but what I am saying is if Mark Walter tries to buy in any other time ever to any other team, they're probably going to block him for this.
I don't know, dude. He's a powerful, powerful man.
Oh, he is. You're right.
When you got a B after your name, people move out of the way.
Oh, and
That's
JR.
why Iger. That's why I disagree with you if they're going to have a problem with Iger, because Iger is one of the most well-respected corporate leaders. I mean, how
Well,
long
that's what I'm
was-
saying. I
how
don't
long
think
was
they
he
will have
ahead
a
of
problem with
Disney?
Iger. I don't think at all they'll have a problem with Iger or Kushner.
And
but they'll
Kushner's
have problems.
brother, before Jared got involved in the Middle East, had more money than Jared.
Yeah.
And then Jared got involved with his wife's dad, the president of the United States, and became this emissary to the Middle East. And all of a sudden, he's making all these billions of dollars with the Saudis and the Kuwaitis and the UAEs and the Bahrainians. And
Yeah, no, the NBA is excited to have both those men, and they were going to let him buy the Vegas team if they were going to
yes,
expand.
that's how it started. That's the other thing that makes it stink to high heaven. The story from the ESPN reporter that I heard this morning was, this is literally how she put it. I'm parsing words. They came together and they wanted to buy the Vegas expansion team. And then they realized, instead of getting an expansion team, let's find if there's any current teams that are available. And they happened to call the Lakers. That just doesn't sound credible to me.
No, Walter's.
That you would call somebody that just bought a team 9 months ago, hey, you want to sell? That doesn't sound credible to me at all. I think we'll find out later that Walter contacted them. Hey, I heard you guys, Bob, I heard you want that Vegas team. Yeah. Well, there might be a current team that's up. Well, what current team? My Lakers. Shut up. Let me get Kushner on the phone. I'll call you right back. That's what I think went down. They just happened to call the Walter family and say, hey, I know it's only been 9 months, but Did you sell for the right price? That just doesn't sound. It's like buying a new car and selling it a year later. Don't make no sense. Let's take a break. We come back. We'll check the board. We'll also talk about Stephanie White. I told you she's done. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, the fans are booing her.
She
and all
got booed. And then after the game, which they won, she came on with a prepared statement, tried to read it like it was like impromptu. She did it like this. Let me just say to those who think I'm a piece of crap, like Ralph Bailey out in Bakersfield, that you ain't right. And just wait till you hear this. Where her explanation is, this is a direct quote, I didn't see the play in real time. Now, first of all, what the hell does that, well, we'll get into it after the break. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Again, the hoodlum kids on the bicycles. You realize that's the whole idea, right? This is a plea for attention. Every time you make a video and then you put it on social media and everybody watches it, those hoodlum kids win. Because that's all they're looking for is the views. And however dangerous and stupid a thing has to be for them to get their clicks, they're going to do it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru to tell you the Subaru A Lot to Love event is going on right now at Sangera Subaru. This is the best time to get an incredible offer on a brand new 2026 Subaru, like a 2026 Outback Premium CVT. Lease one for $229 a month for 36 months with $5,017 due at signing. Offer ends August 31st, so stop by, see my good friends Damon Culbertson and Assad Levy during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Pick out your new Subaru and hit the road. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersfield Auto Mall, 24/7 at sangerasubaru.com.
Lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for $229 a month plus tax for 36 months. Total payments $8,869, $5,017 due at signing. Includes first payment, excludes tax, title, license, and fees. Total lease cost $13,886, excluding tax and fees. TSRP $37,287. No security deposit required. Lease based on 7,500 mile per year, 15 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance Tier 1 SCA credit approval. Expires 8/31/26. Excludes optional products and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY514370.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
The Crossroads of the West Gun Show is coming this weekend to the Kern County Fairgrounds in Bakersfield.
We're finding everything we're looking for, so we're impressed. Awesome selection. Awesome, yeah, just a lot more than I expected to see.
It's America's premier gun show with great deals on guns, ammo, scopes, accessories, and more. Sold at wholesale prices, plus jewelry, gift ideas, and door prizes.
We'll scour through, find the best bargain, come back and buy it.
Crossroads of the West Gun Show this weekend at the Kern County Fairgrounds in Bakersfield.
All sales are conducted.
You can buy, sell, and trade at all Crossroads gun shows. Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey.
Cunningham, who is one of the girls that the Black mostly homosexual ladies of the league resent. And I can understand it on a certain level. I don't understand allowing that resentment to prevent the league from thriving. It just doesn't make any sense. You should be thanking these ladies that are bringing attention to the league. But I get it. Sophia Cunningham doesn't even start. And yet most of you know who she is. But what's the black girl that's the star on the Fever? Kelly Mitchell. Y'all never heard of her. And she's the leading scorer on that team. She's one of the best players in the league. So you see the resentment? I'm not justifying it, but I think at least you could understand it. If Ralph Bailey was the leading scorer on the AGM team and Chris Burdick, who didn't even start, has T-shirts and is on Instagram every day and is just getting all this attention, I'd be like, I'm putting in 25 a night. This guy scores 8 and 2. I'm putting in 25 a night. What the hell? So I get it. But to allow that to eventually hurt yourself because you're not allowing the league to thrive, whoever it is that is the attention, that draws attention to the WNBA, they're still drawing attention to the WNBA, which means all boats rise when more eyes are on us, whether they're watching Caitlin Clark or Sophia Cunningham or Asia Wilson. It doesn't matter. And you would think these ladies would be not only appreciative of the fact that the minute that Caitlin Clark got into the league a couple of years ago, they started flying charter as opposed to sitting around sleeping in airports. But they just signed the most lucrative bargaining agreement in the 30-year history of the league. These broads have never made so much money in their lives. You would think that before the game, they'd go up to Caitlin and say, thank you, girl. Appreciate you. You don't deserve all the attention that you get, but I'm making more money now. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And in the case that I mentioned with Burdick, the two of us, if Burdick got more attention and put more money in my pocket, I'd be like, that's all right. You're 8 and 2. That's cool. That's all right. Because I just got a raise, so I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But you know what it is? You can hate me if you want to, ladies. That's how brothers would handle it. And I don't mean by brothers, I mean black. I mean men. That's how men would handle it. I don't appreciate it, Burdick, that you got a T-shirt and you're scoring 8 points a night and I'm scoring 25 and I ain't got nothing. But we cool, though, because my check is fat. We cool. You know what I'm saying? Women, that don't fly. That don't fly. So Stephanie White came out and said, after Cunningham got clotheslined by Dijon Carrington, a Nepo baby whose daddy played in the NFL and went to a private school in San Diego that cost $25,000 a year. So don't play ghetto with me, girl. Don't play I'm from the streets when you went to a better private school than I went to. Good googly moogly. Don't play that. At least I'm up front with it. I was a spoiled rich kid who went to high school with a bunch of rich white guys. I'm up front about it. I don't try to play hard. I tell you I'm a coward. I don't try to play like I'm from the streets. And this girl is playing this role as this thug when she's just stupid. She's just absolutely stupid. So the coach in the press conference defended the suspect as opposed to her own player. Didn't even mention her own player. So she got booed last night. So after the game last night, she addressed the news conference with this. This is a bit long, but it's worth listening to.
No, I'm going to start today. This isn't necessarily for those people that are in this room. This is more for an online community that's trying to create narratives that simply don't exist. Trying to create a fabrication or distortion of who I am, of what I'm about. Our players' success, our players' health and wellness, our players' safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. For those who have anything to say about the play in the last game, I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay.
Stop right there. What the hell does that mean? Like, if the play had occurred on the far side of the court from where she was, maybe I get this real-time BS. but it was on her side of the court. She was about 20 feet from the baseline. What do you mean you didn't see it in real time? If you go back and watch the clip, which you can easily do if you Google Cunningham and Carrington, the players stand up and they're like, what the hell? So the players saw it, but 4 chairs down, you didn't see it? This is the issue with everybody that's a celebrity. It's never the mistake that you make, it's how you handle it. And for her to come out and say, basically, I didn't see it. But then when I look back on the tape, yeah, it looked pretty egregious. That doesn't work, lady. That doesn't work. That just doesn't work. We're going to head into the 4. When we come back, you'll hear the rest of the bite from Stephanie White. You'll also hear from Caitlin Clark. I told you. Now, I don't know. This could be, I'm not saying that you're wrong yet, because this could be Caitlin Clark taking one for the team. But did you listen to the Caitlin Clark bite? She spoke very highly of Stephanie White. We both kind of conjectured.
I don't know. I was shocked by it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you.
Maybe there was a problem between the relationship between Stephanie White. And I wasn't totally disagreeing with you, because as I pointed out in the past, one of the reasons that I'm done with Caitlin Clark is I saw her get into it with Stephanie White on the bench. And there are just some things you don't do in sports. One of them is clothesline somebody when they're in midair so they don't break their hip or their back or their skull. And the other thing is you don't fight with your coach in the stadium. You can fight with him in the locker room, but you don't do it on the floor. Quick timeout. We head into the 4. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Caroline Levitt is stepping down for a White House spokesperson role.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt is leaving her post at the end of August to spend more time with her young family after the recent birth of her second child. As he announced her departure, President Trump described her as one of his most trusted aides, saying she would continue to be one of his top outside advisors. In a social media post, Levitt called it a bittersweet decision, and that she felt in her heart she cannot be the best mom her 2 young children deserve, while devoting the constant time, energy, and attention required of the White House press secretary. Levitt served the president as a press aide during his first term in the White House and is the youngest person to hold the role of press secretary at age 28. I'm Jennifer King.
Germany is beefing up its intelligence services as threats from foreign powers become more of a concern.
The German cabinet on Wednesday approved draft legislation meant to strengthen the nation's foreign and domestic intelligence services and reduce the reliance of the EU's most populous nation on tips from its allies. The powers of Germany's Federal Intelligence Service, the BND, and its domestic intelligence service, the BFV, have long lagged behind those of major European counterparts. Officials say the services will get more powers to access laptops, cell phones, and other devices, and also take what they call active measures. This reform has been planned for months and still requires parliamentary approval. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Officials say an Army Apache attack helicopter crashed in a central Texas field, killing both people on board, sparking a wildfire that forced several homes to be evacuated. On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow was down by 21 points, the Nasdaq rose 143, the S&P advanced 20. More at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
from the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
Bakersfield leaders are pushing to get downtown added back into a federal program designed to encourage private investment. I'm Rob Archer. Downtown Bakersfield was left out of California's latest list of proposed opportunity zones. The program gives tax breaks to investors who put money into certain areas. City and county leaders say the first round helped to bring new housing and other projects downtown. They're asking the U.S. Treasury to include downtown Bakersfield before the final list is approved later this year. Out of 27 areas proposed in Bakersfield, only a handful moved on for further consideration. A woman accused of vandalizing the Kern County Veterans Memorial is headed for a mental competency hearing. Marina Leanne Smith has pleaded not guilty to felony vandalism charges. Police say she smashed part of the memorial's glass sculpture and damaged another county building. A judge will decide whether she's mentally able to understand the case and help with her defense. Several Bakersfield school districts started classes today, including the Bakersfield City School District and Kern High School District. That means heavier traffic around campuses during the afternoon pickup. Drivers should plan for another traffic headache tomorrow morning. Highway 58 will have repeated 10-minute closures between Mohawk Street and the southbound 99 connector from 8 until noon. The closures are for construction work, and drivers should expect delays or plan on using another route. Kern County Animal Services is holding a public safety meeting tonight about loose and dangerous dogs. It runs from 6 until 9 at Rusty's Pizza on Olive Drive. And temperatures are moving in the right direction. Bakersfield near 100 today with highs in the mid-90s expected Thursday and Friday. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest world, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this hump day, Wednesday, 12th day of August. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at KERNradio.com and all of our IT provided by the folks at Adaptive Networks. Call them today if you're serious about your business and the security of your IT. Call Ryan and Jennifer Van Alstyne at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. In the meantime, I lied to you. We do have a guest. We're going to interrupt Lily Marsh's golf round in about half an hour because she's got some good news to tell us. They've got an honor flight wheels up next month. Our fundraiser is in several weeks, and we're going to announce at the bottom of the hour, I guess I'm announcing it now, that fundraiser will go to try to fund the Desert Storm trip that has been recently planned for April. I've been talking about this for a while. Lily's been talking about it much longer than I have, obviously. And there have been problems with the National Honor Flight. I don't know what the situation is because for years we've been going to DC and we've been watching them build this Desert Storm memorial to these guys. And finally, this thing is erected, and Lily was able to get a charter for April. So that's going to be that's our calling. We were able to do this for the Native American flight, where we raised, I think, $53,000 and footed the bill for the entire flight. That's our goal here again, where we're going to try to raise $50,000 next month and foot the bill for the entire flight. There are obviously not going to be that many Desert Storm guys as there are Vietnam and Korea War veterans. But, and what we can't raise, because I think we can get to 50, I think our record is 61, which is weird because it was COVID. And maybe there were more people listening during COVID, but you would think COVID would be the time where we we would struggle raising money. But that was the year. It was 2020, 2021, maybe the year after COVID. I think we were back in studio by then. So
People were handing over stimulus checks.
I guess, yeah. I guess a lot of people did have some chump change. And we raised 60 grand that year. That's the record. We roughly anywhere from 30 to 50 and sometimes 60. But we're excited. I'm excited about that. I hope you are as well. We're gonna, foot the bill for that entire flight. Those guys have been ignored, really. Not ignored, but just not recognized. And now here's their opportunity. So we're really excited about that. We're going to talk with Lily at the bottom of the hour. In the meantime, I want to finish up with Stephanie White and then let you hear from Caitlin Clark, because this woman, she will not be coaching for the Indiana Fever. There are two things I do know about the WNBA. The commissioner will be unemployed next year, and Stephanie White will not be with the Fever. I think she's good enough coach that she'll get in that stratosphere. Well, she'll get a job, and she might be a journeyman, because apparently she's a pretty good player, and apparently she's considered to be a pretty good coach. I just disagree. There have been so many different times. Like, for example, as I mentioned before the break, getting into it with a player on the floor. I would have sat, I don't give a damn who you are. I don't care if you're Magic Johnson. You get in Phil Jackson's, he didn't play Phil Jackson. If you're Magic Johnson, you get in Pat Riley's face on the floor at the Forum. Pat would sit your ass down. You would not play another minute. Magic, Kareem, there's exceptions to the rule. And Magic would be an exception to the rule too, let's be honest. But Byron Scott, you couldn't get away with that by Scott. Michael Cooper, no, you couldn't get away with that. The only two Lakers that could talk smack to Pat Riley and not get benched would be Magic and Kareem. Those are the only two. But you just don't do it. You just don't do it. And it just frustrates me so. I see these things. Little League World Series is underway. There's a great story about that, by the way, we'll get to later. But when I hear these coaches yelling at their players, and you just don't embarrass people in public. You just don't yell and scream at your players. What are you doing? I've always been sensitive to people screaming at me, only because my father literally in 36 years of life while he was alive, never raised his voice to me. Never had to. My father could get me to shut up just by looking at me. If I was telling like a family story, like amongst like other people at our house, my father could just give me a look and I'd be like, you know what? That's how the story ends. What? I thought you were in the middle of it. I'd look back at my dad and he'd be looking at me. No, that's pretty much all of it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very sensitive to getting yelled at. And to hear and see a player and a coach going at it, you've lost control, I think. Do you ever see that in the NFL? Very rarely. Very rarely. There was the famous incident with Andy Reid and Mr. Swift. There have been a couple of situations, but it doesn't happen often because they're professionals. And you got to sit your guy down and say, we're pros, we don't do this. Meantime, here's the rest of Stephanie White's reasoning for, because the issue is, what they're all against her is, why would you support the player that just knocked down your player? And the anti-Stephanie White thesis is she wants to get along, she wants to go along to get along. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's about race, in other words. A white coach doesn't want to go on record as criticizing a black player. So instead of supporting her snow bunny, as I read on Facebook this morning, she protected the black player for fear of, dislikes, clicks, whatever. So when they played last night or the night before, they booed her incessantly because they're right. You got to support your player. You've got to look at that. And because we played half that bite where she said, I didn't see it in real time. Well, then you can't comment on it. Then shut the hell up until you see it in real time, whatever that means. I don't even know what does real time mean? You were standing 20 feet away from the play. And you know what I would do if I were a referee? The next time Stephanie White, I referee one of her games, hey, don't you ever, ever curse me out for missing a play because you were 20 feet away from your player getting clotheslined and you claimed you didn't see it. So don't you ever come talking to me about missing a call, because you would have just called it a personal foul. Here's more from the incompetent Stephanie White.
Egregious, absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time.
Stop. Then why didn't you? What are you talking about? I didn't have that in real time. Then why did you speak on it? Come on. It's never the mistake you make. It's how you handle it. I didn't see it. Now that I've seen it, I see the light. Give me a break, lady. Were you in the stadium, coach? Were you in Indiana? Good googly moogly. Let's go.
Time.
Were there any
I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back. I ride with them 10 toes down all the time.
Stop. Explain to an old man what that means. What does it
10
mean?
toes down all the time just means you stand on it. You will never back down. You'll always have the person's back, which is a lie, obviously, because we heard her a couple days ago take the other teammate or the other team's player over her own.
Okay, because I freaked out when I heard that.
No, yeah.
First time I've heard that phrase, because the only time I've heard that phrase used is 10 toes up, 10 toes down.
Yeah, no,
a euphemism for having sex, obviously.
It's obviously been changed recently, but yeah, all 10 toes down means is that they keep their feet down planted. They will not stray from what they believe.
I literally genuflected when I heard that. I went, what did she say? Let me replay that. 10 toes up, 10 toes down? Oh, just 10 toes down. And I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? Is that masturbation? I mean, you're by yourself? What, is that? What the hell? 10 toes down? I thought it was 10 toes up, 10 toes up. I don't know. Go ahead.
Down all the time. All the time. They know that. It's a shame that we can't have an opportunity to talk about what great basketball they're playing.
That's true. Because you're all
they
stupid.
Are playing. The reality is, with me, I will always lead with love. I will always lead with grace. I will always lead with humility.
Stop. What'd she say? Love, grace, and humility.
Correct.
I know a little bit about sports. A little bit. If I were hiring a coach and he sat down in my office and gave me an interview and said, I will always coach with love, grace, and humility, I would look them in the face and say, next. I don't need love. I don't need you to love my players. I don't need you to be humble with my players. And what was the other one? And I don't need you to be graceful. I need you to be a disciplinarian. I need you to get everything you can get out of these players. I need you to coach them hard. I need you to get to win. Love, grace, and humility? What the hell does that have to do with coaching? Like on the Little League level, okay. But these are professional athletes. They don't need any love. Go find a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Humility, grace, what are you talking about, lady? Continue.
Grace, I will always lead with humility, and I will always lead with integrity. Doesn't mean I'll always get it right. I'm also human.
Clearly.
The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win.
Oh, that's right. Be adamant.
It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided.
Oh, please. You're so divided.
Every day, these women put their on the line.
And point fingers at each other.
Every day.
Wow.
When they go low, we go high. Love will win.
Love.
Grace will win.
Love, grace.
Humility will win. And kindness will win.
Kindness now.
I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
What a classy way to end the press conference. This lady, I have never heard a coach talk about love and all the things that she talked about when it comes to coaching.
I love how she kind of changed the subject at the end there, too.
Absolutely.
Trying to point it at the Ennis Cancer freedom stuff and all that instead of what was actually being talked about, which is her.
Which is her and how she handled a bad situation. And now she's handling it even worse. And that's what I always say. You know, it's not the error that you make, it's how you handle it. And she should have said that night, and even if you watch the play, she comes onto the floor and walks by Sophie Cunningham and goes to Carrington. Like, if I'm a basketball player and I just got clotheslined where I'm literally in midair and somebody knocked me to the ground and my coach doesn't come up to me and say, Ralph, are you okay? Instead, my coach walks to the player that knocked me down and is talking to her as I'm like rubbing my hip. Go watch the play if you think I'm making this up. She completely walks by Sophie Cunningham as the players are walking under the bench, and she walks over to Carrington, who she defended in the news conference. This league is so screwed up, and it's never had the amount of talent that it has. It's never had the attention that it has. But she's absolutely right. The attention is because they're the Real Housewives of the WNBA, and not because they've got a bunch of Olivia Miles, I told you about the other day, that most of you have never even heard of. She's a baller. There's a lot of incompetence in the WNBA. Don't get me wrong. I sent Chris and Randy clips of Angel Reese Part 22, Butterby Khan. And there's these guys that put together these clips. And it's like almost every night although she had a good night the other night. I think she had 14 and 10 and boop, boop, boop. And made a three. She made a three, which is amazing with the way she shot puts the ball. The fact that she can get the ball in the hole from anywhere outside of 10 feet is amazing. Because her freaking shooting form is as bad as, it's worse than a fifth grader.
No beef.
She pulls it behind her ear and she shot puts it. When in fact, you're supposed to get your elbow straight in front of you, the ball above your head, and just release it off your fingertips and keeping your elbow straight with the rim, not down here. Now, Bird did that as well, but Bird did it over his head. He didn't have it down here by his ear, and he didn't shot put it the way she does. You got to roll it off your fingers. That's why if you watch really good shooters, they always, watch Steph Curry. He will always end like that, as if he was a gay man from San Francisco, because that's the nature of the shot right there. But not Brick, not Butterby Khan. She shoves that thing up and it clanks. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, check the board, see what you guys are talking about. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk with Lily Marsh, somewhere on the coast, playing golf, the lucky son of a gun. But she's got great news. Not only are Wheels up next month on Honor Flight 54, don't quote me, but the Desert Storm, Desert Shield guys finally have an Honor Flight date. I'll let Lily tell you when it's Wheels up for those gentlemen, and we'll talk about our fundraiser next month and how much we need your help to pay for that Desert Storm trip. We're going to foot the bill for the whole damn thing right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Dr. Sam Woggood, transfer to the University of California at San Francisco, was asked, can only women get pregnant? And that was asked by Representative Mary Miller. You know what? He couldn't answer it. That's what I'm talking about, because everybody listening to me right now knows that only women can get pregnant in the human race.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
If you're a local businessman and you take your IT seriously, there are two things that you absolutely need to do. One, you need to listen to the Ralph Bailey Show on Wednesdays at 3:30 when Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, come in, basically talking to business folks on what you should be looking for, what should be alarm bells when people are coming back and fixing the same thing over and over again. And the next thing you need to do is pick up the phone and call the Van Alstynes at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638. 241-0638. As I have talked about so often, we have teamed up for almost a year with American with American General Media and Adaptive Networks, because as a radio station, we absolutely depend on our IT. So we had to go to a team that was reliable, competent, and has the best customer service in Kern County. If you're a serious business person, call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
And we're back.
We are back.
August is here.
Finally, August.
Pools are open.
Unbelievable.
Spray parks are open, keeping cool.
4 shopping months till Christmas.
Speaking of that, why, if you go to a big box hardware store, they have Halloween stuff.
Yeah, already.
Seriously, come on out to California Fruit Depot. That's why we're here. We're advertising at California Fruit Depot. Phenomenal shakes, smoothies, fresh fruit, nuts, vegetables.
Nuts. Come get your nuts.
Yeah, come on out. But I want to thank everybody for our 4th of July Fan Fest that we had. 20 to 25,000 people.
25. The Highway Patrol estimate, I don't remember.
That was a good time.
It was amazing.
And the big question of the day was, why don't people carve watermelons? I mean, that is an age-old question.
It is a very good question.
Come on out to California Fruit Depot. Let's talk about it in depth.
Yeah.
And seriously, let's start carving watermelons. Spray a little bug spray like off in there, and you're not going to attract anything.
Perfect.
Good to go.
119.
Google us, California Fruit Depot. Come on out. We're local.
See ya.
Hey, folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to The Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I don't have time to really get into any topics, so I'm just going to tell a couple of what I think are funny stories. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But one of the things that we don't do, our small little group here at the radio station, it's about 5 of us, Snacks, Randy, Chris, me, JR, is we really don't talk about politics. So I have no idea what Chris's party affiliation is. I don't know JR's, I don't know Randy's, I don't know Snacks. But it's funny when you when something happens and you're discussing it and you realize you can find out somebody's political background. I'm not going to name any names, Randizzle, that he's an ultra liberal.
Yeah.
Because I brought up Carolyn Levitt and he was like, oh, thank God that broad's gone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, Carolyn Levitt is literally, in my opinion, in 64 years of life, the best press secretary I've ever seen. Maybe Sarah Huckabee, maybe Pierre Salinger for Kennedy, maybe Ari Fleischer, but she's like one of the best. And she makes the Haitian lesbian, what was that broad's name?
Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Make her look like an idiot who used to absolutely read the answers literally out of a booklet. She had like a booklet like we used to have that was separated by subjects. And if they brought up Iran, she'd go to I, and she'd be like, President Biden feels that we are doing well in Iran and blah, 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 blah. Water, hang on, let me get the W's. The water situation in Montana, and just would read it. Carolyn Levitt looks the reporters dead in the eye. She's combative, she's articulate, she's gorgeous. I just thought it was funny that I was like, oh, that's right, I forgot. You over there, aren't you, Randizzle? I forgot about that. And the other story is, I watch these reels, and I'm like addicted. And there's like, once they figure out what you watch, they repeat it. So I get a lot of arrests.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's formulaic. It's like bar, what is it? Bar rescue.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. You can't arrest me. I know my rights. So, and then there's an argument, and then they wrestle him to the ground, and they put him in handcuffs, and They have to throw them in the car because they refuse to get in the car. And it's formulaic. But it's always a different twist, so that's why I watch them. Well, there was a good one last night where it was kind of an affable drunk, but he wouldn't leave the restaurant. So the cops get called. Sir, you've been trespassed. But he's an affable drunk. He was just drunk. I don't think he was a bad guy. I just think he was off his pins. And he's like, he wanted me to leave, but I'm having such a good time. And it's just hilarious. So finally, they go to the rigmarole, they cuff him, they take him to the ground. Why are you beating up on me? I didn't do anything. Did I hurt you? Did I hurt you? I didn't hurt you, did I? Why are you hurting me? They finally get him to the car, and he says, get in the car. I'm not getting in the car. Can I just make a phone call? If you let me make a phone call, I'll get in the car. And the cop says, who are you going to call? He says, yo, mama. Ah! I don't know why, but I thought that was so funny. Who the hell are you going to call? Yo, mama. And of course, it was a brother. To see a guy laugh his way to jail, I think is humorous. And then you wake up and you're like, damn. It's hilarious how people can talk their way into jail. Like the cop, every night I watch one of these. All you have to do is leave. All you have to do is leave, or we're putting you in cuffs. Well, just give me a minute. You have to leave right now, or we're putting you in cuffs. All right, well, just settle down. Wait a minute. Wait, what are you doing? I didn't do anything wrong. I know my rights. Can I make a phone call?
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will be leaving the Trump administration at the end of the month to spend time with her young family. The 28-year-old Leavitt called it a bittersweet decision in a social media post Wednesday shortly after President Trump announced she'd be stepping down. She is the youngest person in history to hold the role and recently gave birth to her second child. An Army Apache attack helicopter crashed in a Central Texas field, killing both people on board and sparking a wildfire that forced several homes to be evacuated. Officials from nearby Fort Hood announced the AH-64 Apache helicopter had crashed Wednesday. A spokesman for the Bell County Sheriff's Office confirmed that both occupants died. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 21 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Rob Archer. More details are coming out about why a Tehachapi school administrator was arrested for failing to report suspected child abuse. Police say Roxanne Romero received several complaints about inappropriate behavior by a former PE teacher. Investigators say Romero decided the complaints were not valid and did not report them. She faces a misdemeanor charge and has been placed on administrative leave. Thousands of Bakersfield students went back to class today as the Bakersfield City and Kern High School districts began the new school year. Drivers are being reminded to slow down around campuses and watch for school buses. And United Airlines started daily nonstop flights between Bakersfield and Los Angeles. The first inbound flight from LAX landed at Meadows Field yesterday. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I'm here with Dr. Tarkesh from Affordable Dentures and Implants. Doc, people often think dental implants are a one-size-fits-all solution. How is Affordable Dentures and Implants different than that?
That's a great question. We know every patient is unique and each person has their own specific needs. So we create a personalized treatment plan designed just for them.
Wow. And what makes your process stand apart from the other places?
Well, we offer advanced digital dentistry, which let us design and create custom solutions. And with our on-site lab, we can offer same-day teeth for many patients. No waiting for weeks for your new smile.
Same-day teeth? Now that's impressive.
Get the smile you've always wanted without anxiety at Affordable Dentures and Implants. Dr. Nozar Tarkesh, who specializes in implants with IV sedation. Visit them online at affordabledentures.com. Affordable Dentures and Implants. That's what we do.
Go ahead and smile. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Valley Plaza Mall has introduced a new preferred parking program to give shoppers the option of having a guaranteed upfront parking space in a section of the parking lot for a fee. And by the way, this is taken off all across the country. You want to park up close, you can, but you're going to have to pay for it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
We're off to the coast to talk to the founder of Honor Flight Kern County. We're interrupting her coastal round of golf, but she's bearing good news, so we had to get her on the broadcast. Lily Marsh joins us. What hole are you on, Lily?
I just finished.
Okay, good. I'm glad. What'd you shoot? You want to share?
Well, we didn't have a lot of time, so there's a little 3-par executive course kind of in the front yard here.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah. So what did I shoot? I can't remember. I'm not very good. I think I got a 39. Last time I played was a 33, maybe, was my best ever on that course.
That's 6 over. That's not bad.
Well,
if they're all par three, are they all par threes?
Yeah, they're all par threes.
So it's 27. Yeah, that's 6 over. That's damn good golf.
I consider it a victory if I don't get any 6s.
Yeah, me too. Me too, but unfortunately I do. That's the problem.
Well, I do on a regular course for sure, but there's some great little short courses over here.
Yeah, par threes. I grew up.
Sea Pines and Los Osos, and another 9-hole in San Luis Club Berry Creek, which is really cool.
Yeah, I've actually played golf in Los Osos.
Yeah,
I actually have. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. It really, really is. Yeah. I spent a couple of weekends down there. I had a girlfriend who's had an aunt that had a place down there. We'd go down there during the summer. But you're bearing really good news. Let's do it in chronological order. You've got a flight leaving next month. Will this be 53 or 54?
54.
54?
Yeah.
Okay.
With about 90 vets, I think, on this one. And so we're ready to ship out at the end of September, which is a month early for us. Usually. Yeah. And I can't, it fell that way just on availability of hotel room.
Yeah.
So, we're going a little early, and we're going to have a big layoff going before we go back in the spring. But
yeah.
The spring is special.
I'm going to get to that. You're staying in Virginia again?
This will be, Sheraton Pentagon, wherever.
Yeah, that's in Virginia.
Right there at the Air Force Memorial where they flipped the antenna.
Yeah, love that hotel.
Yeah.
That's of the 2 or 3 that we've been to, that's my favorite. It really is.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, and it's close to where we end up because on the day we finish at the Air Force Memorial and the hotel's right around the corner and I can get on the air at 6 o'clock. That's why I love it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Although on the last trip I ended up being running Ralph again. It was like 5:55. We were like 2 blocks from the place, and I was like, I got to get off the bus. And of course, Jeff Salters had to, videotape me running down the street trying to get to my hotel room by 6 o'clock. So my nickname, Running Ralph, still stands. Tell them the really good news. What's going on in April?
So there's a brand new memorial that's being dedicated at the end of October, God willing. I know it's still under some construction, but they're pushing it. And that's the Desert Storm and Desert Shield War Memorial, which is a really narrow window of service.
Yeah.
It will be dedicated in October. And then we're going to be taking a small commercial flight, much like we did on the Native American flight that you all generously sponsored. And we'll be taking this same flight, 50 seats on a commercial plane of just Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and of course, support personnel. And somebody from the station, I hope, will chime in, since you all are raising money here pretty quickly to sponsor this entire flight. And we'll have you guys and your listeners to thank for ponying up that dough and making it happen for some of these youngsters. I say youngsters, but they're 62 also now.
Yeah. I was about to say youngsters. They're my age. Good googly moogly. Yeah, we're going to make it happen. We're going to raise 50 grand. And I would love to go on that flight. I really would. I know I've said I've kind of retired from going back to DC, but you're right. This is kind of special. I'd really like to be a part of it. It's possible.
It's special, and you're doing all the work, but also, I don't know if you were ever going at the time when we had one bus, and that changes everything. We can get around a lot better.
Yeah.
And it's faster, and it's very cool with just the one. We're in and out of everything.
Yeah.
So
I can't imagine the time, because that's the time consumer, is organizing, getting everybody on the 3 or 4 buses and stopping for lunch and then getting everybody back on the bus. But just with one bus, that's an entirely different trip. It really is.
Yeah, and we're flying right into, this will probably change your mind, we're flying right into DC because it's commercial.
Oh, okay.
So, we can't charter into, we have to obviously go into Baltimore or Dulles, but we can fly commercial right into Reagan. So
why would that change my mind? That's even better, because I have problems getting on.
I'm saying on a positive note.
Yeah,
because you would like that, because you're not getting in a bus and driving an hour
and doing the first half hour of the show on the bus, which has been the tradition, because we get in right at about 6 o'clock East Coast time. Well, we're really excited about this, and it's going to fuel our fundraiser. I think a lot of people are going to want to come step forward and support these guys. So we're excited about that. I don't want to keep you, but I appreciate what you do, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, how many years has it been now? 54? How many years has it been? Like 12, 13 years?
Well, 2012 was our first flight.
Wow. That's incredible. That really, really is. It's just
crazy, and we get more volunteers every single month and year, and we just keep on ticking, and people continue to hang in there because it's so cool.
Yeah, and the fundraisers have picked up. Like, the schools are involved, and restaurants are now involved, and everybody is doing a little something for Honor Flight during the year. It's really cool.
The school element is really cool.
Yeah.
We've got some grants from Rotary clubs and whatnot to use for schools, and some of the high schools have Honor Flight clubs.
Yeah.
And they raise money, and just all this fall, they'll be doing, every single school will be doing special stuff for vets at football games, and it's most hubs you fly and you're done, and we keep everyone very busy if they want to be involved. As you know, the breakfast, we have the parades throughout the year, and then now if anybody that wants to go to school assemblies and be interviewed and go to these football games and baseball games and basketball games, they want you. These kids want the vets there, and they want to honor them, and we can keep people as busy as they want to be after they fly with us.
Yeah, that's good to know. Well, we're very excited. This is great news. Final. And I'm sorry to interrupt your golf game. Enjoy the coast.
No, it was fine. And I will be able to get with the accountant and give you a pretty close figure need to raise to make that happen.
Outstanding. And we'll get
pretty
that
much down to the penny.
Yeah, we'll get that done. We really will. Thanks, Lily, for all you do.
Well,
Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye.
Lily Marsh, the founder of Honor Flight. You guys know the story, right? She did this on a lark. Her father was a World War II veteran, and she found out about Honor Flight in other communities and said, why don't we do this here in Kern County? And that was back in 2012, and now this thing has a life of its own, where, like she said, the schools are contributing, restaurants. I got my guy Steve Mills up in Tehachapi. He does an annual fundraiser. Just everybody wants to try to contribute and get these guys to Washington. And for the first time, I do believe it's the first time, we're doing this station-wide. In other words, it's not going to simply be the Ralph Bailey Show fundraiser. All of our stations, Romeo and Randy on Hot, and Snacks on Hits, and Cascabel and China on our Spanish station, everybody is going to be fundraising. Obviously, we're going to raise the lion's share. I don't think that's even a question, but we've got a little more firepower next month when we do our fundraiser. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I'll even see the chat room, see what you all are saying. And I've got some other things to get into. We can talk more about the supervisors losing their minds. Losing their minds. That's what I said. All of them. David, Philip, Jeff, y'all done lost your mind. Did you hear what they're supporting? A 2-state scenario for California. Now, there was a time where I thought this was a good idea. I was drunk and high at the time, however, because it's an idiotic idea. Do you understand that we're one of the most powerful? We are the single most powerful state in the union. We have an economy, despite Gavin Newsom and his shenanigans, that's that of a country. And y'all want to split us up? I get the point. We can split it up down the middle, let the liberals stay on the coast, let Oklahoma stay in the middle. But we have like 50-something electoral votes, and you want to split that up? That is politically stupid. Stupid. We'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure I just did, but we'll talk about it some more. Get your thoughts. Right here on the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will talk mental health with our friend Dr. Corey Gonzalez, who will come in bringing burritos in probably some form of AI advertisement. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
You know, it must be nice to be able to retire like Serena Williams and then say, I'm unretired. But for most of us, that's not the case. When we hang it up, that's about it. That's why you've got to be prepared for the late fourth quarter in your lives. And that's why I always stress that the smartest financial move I have ever made happened about 10 years ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And the other thing I always remind you about, I've turned on colleagues here at American General Media to Daniel, and they could not be happier about what Daniel has done for them financially. Call Daniel Petrie at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays. He appears here every Thursday at 4:30, and his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Premium Wireless. How did you get 30, 30, better get 30, better get 20, 20, 20, better get 20, 20, better get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month. Sold!
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes. Be slow when network is busy. See terms.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Carpet Outlet Plus.
Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I forgot to tell you, I won't be here tomorrow. Forgot to tell you that.
What?
I shan't be here tomorrow.
Fill in for you.
I don't care.
Does JR know this?
I don't know.
Great.
Aren't you going to ask me why?
Why are you not coming in tomorrow?
Please stand by.
The wallet's coming out. Okay. That's why you won't be here tomorrow, folks.
Right there, boy. Right there. Is it upright? No, I don't want it upright because I don't want you to see my numbers and steal them. Right there, baby. Right there. $975 million. I ain't going to be here tomorrow. I don't know who's going to be here. I don't give a damn. But I ain't going to be here. That is your winning ticket right there, Jack. Right there. Do you know how stupid young kids are? I'm at the summit. I got my 2 waters. And I say, how much are the Powerball tickets? And the girl, I swear this is a direct conversation, quotes. They're $2. Give me 10. You do know that'll be $20. It's exactly what I did. It's exactly what I did. I just stared at her. And then when she didn't realize that I was mocking her, she goes, sir, I go, I can multiply. Okay, just want to make sure. I'm like, wow. You know, I've got some audio. You have no idea how much audio I acquire, particularly on vacation or on a weekend. And there are these bits that they do where they ask kids to either read a card and they can't because it says the psychiatric evaluation was psychedelic and has these words that they've never seen. They can't read the card. And there's one that runs constantly where they ask these children, they're in their 20s, what's 2% of 100? And they can't answer. You know what the most common answer is? What do you think the most common answer is? What's 2%?
20.
20, exactly. That is the most common answer.
God,
it's like, I don't know who to blame. Do you blame the kid or do you blame the parents or do you blame the educational system?
I blame the educational system.
How are you over the age of 14 and you don't know 2% of 100? Let me tell you something, 22-year-old. Wait till you start dealing with fractions or algebra. Or, I mean, how the hell do these kids get out of high school? 2% of 100 is 20. Okay, all right. So if you wonder where I am, I'll be in the Bahamas. Do you think if I won tonight, I could be in the Bahamas by tomorrow?
Yes.
You think I could be?
Oh, yeah.
That I could take my ticket down to Chase and verify it and say, I want a loan of $15,000 right now. And if you don't give me my $15,000 right this very minute, when I get the $975 or the $330 after I pay the government, I'm going to Wells Fargo. And if you ever watch the Beverly Hillbillies, you know that bankers love big depositors. That was the best part of the Beverly Hillbillies. Raymond, I forget what his real name is, Mr. Drysdale, always trying to keep the Clampetts in Beverly Hills so they'd keep their millions in his bank. So I truly believe that if I were to win tonight, I could walk into Chase tomorrow morning, verify it with them, and they'd give me 15 grand right off the top without even asking a question, because I would threaten, when I get my 330 million, if you don't give me 15K in cash right now, I'm closing my account, I'm going to Wells Fargo. Wait a minute, Mr. Bailey. Wait, don't get rash. Hold on just a second. Let's see if we can work something out. We can give you 10. No, I'm gone. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
Oh, excuse me. Mr. Bailey, where do you get your information of that the 20 reports were made to Child Protective Services regarding Genesis Mata?
Oh, that's common knowledge. That's been commonly reported by every news station and every news agency in this town. You gotta stay up. Stay with me. Go Google it. Just go Google Ray Mata. Google Genesis Mata. Go to the Californian and Google it. Read a story. Call me crazy. I'm a former journalist and I believe journalists. Go to kget.com and go back and listen to some of their stories. Just go look up Ray Mata and Gabrielle Bustamante or Genesis Mata. And it will chronicle the fact that there were more than 20 reports given to Child Protective Services of Genesis Mata. How do you think we know the details of what the reports were saying? That she wasn't going to school. You think I just made that up? And that she was coming to school with bruises. You think I made that up? Lito Murillo's got to go. There's no question about that. He won't. He's part of the inner circle where the supervisors will support him for reasons I truly don't understand. And I know most of them and I'm good friends with a couple of them. I don't understand. I think it's once you get into that club, whether you're a supervisor or a councilman or a DA, or once you're in that little club, you kind of look out for one another. You know what I mean? That's just my gut. I could be completely and totally wrong. But how any one of those supervisors thinks that Lito Murillo is doing a good job and deserves to continue to head our Child Protective Services, DHS, it's just mind-boggling to me. And I'm insulted, to be honest with you, that you think that I would make up that information. Like, I get stuff wrong. Like, some guy gave me crap on Facebook because he said that, he said, when you tell stories, you need to get the information right. And you were telling the story of the cheating golfer, and you said that it happened on the 18th hole. It actually happened on the 4th hole. And I responded, I said, one of the good things about us doing YouTube is that you can go back and actually watch the show. And I know what I say, and I know when I step in it. And I know exactly what I said yesterday. What I said was, let's say it was on the 18th hole. The reason I know I said that is because I had no idea what hole it occurred on and didn't give a damn because it wasn't pertinent to the story. Like, that's what you got out of the story? The fact that I got the hole wrong? As opposed to a guy got up at 5:30 in the morning, went to a golf course, created a hole in one, lied, tried to cheat his way to $5,000. But what you got out of the story was, I said it occurred on the 18th hole when it occurred on the 4th. Like, is it really that much fun to correct me? Is it really? I guess.
I think people just have a really bad habit of listening to one part of a statement and just holding on to it.
I almost had you cut it because I know that's what I said.
Right.
Because I know, how could I have known?
No, I remember you saying it because you were saying, let's say it's on the 17th or 18th hole of BCC because we were comparing it to a par 3.
And there was a shack and that had a camera and he was on the 17th and he went up to the 18th.
Yeah, and you're right. It wasn't, the point of the story is not that he cheated the 4th hole of a course.
Or the 18th. The fact is he tried to fake a hole in one. That's the story.
I don't know.
What are you going to do? Some people have too much time on their hands. One more, and let's get into the 5.
Ralph, the school districts, especially the Kern High School District, do not do anything for students that have been inappropriately touched during school. From personal experience and going to the authorities and going the correct steps, nothing was done. The police and the investigators worked for the high school or for Kern High. It was swept under the rug and they moved the pedophile teacher to another school. The system is corrupt.
Yeah, it is. I agree. That's why I was so taken aback by this Roxanne Romero arrest. If you weren't with us earlier, I talked about the fact that up in the Tehachapi Unified School District, a man by the name of Timothy Seaman is accused of molesting little girls at 3 different elementary schools. And the reason that Roxanne Romero, who is the personnel administrator for the district up in Tehachapi, got arrested is because there were mandated reporting going on and she ignored it. And that ties into Lito Murillo because, and that's why the person said, where did I get this 20 number? Because there were reports that there were 20 different calls to Child Protective Services regarding Genesis Mata. And if Roxanne Romero is going to jail, and I'm assuming there weren't 20, I have no idea how many calls there were that she ignored, but I got to assume that it wasn't 20. Maybe it was. But how does Lito Murillo get off and Roxanne Romero's got to go hire an attorney? I don't understand that. How is Kathy Scrivener walking free when she apparently was on scene of a crime and then urged her grandchildren not to cooperate? She's a mandated reporter as a school board member. How has the school board not demanded her resignation? And there are reports that she's going to run again. And you know what? In this screwy town, I predicted she couldn't win anything, but she might screw around and win. God help us.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The White House is losing one of its most visible faces. Correspondent Willie Nelson reports.
Caroline Leavitt is stepping down as White House press secretary at the end of the month. Leavitt, the youngest person ever to hold the job, recently had her second child and is leaving to spend more time with her young family. President Trump said she will stay on as one of his top outside advisors and called her one of the best press secretaries in the history of the office. Willie Nelson, the White House.
President Trump is now confirming it for security reasons. He did indeed slip away from Air Force One following the recent NATO summit in Turkey.
I guess there was a threat out there. I didn't really ask too much about it. I get a lot of threats.
President Trump confirming a report that first appeared in the Washington Post that he was spirited off Air Force One and onto a different plane before departing Turkey last month because of a credible threat from Iran.
I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane.
Trump stowed away in an airport catering container that took him to a smaller aircraft on which he flew to the UK.
I do what they say.
There, he secretly reboarded the decoy jet, then descended from it and climbed back aboard the new Air Force One gifted by Qatar. I'm Ben Thomas.
Severe storms have wreaked havoc across the Midwest, causing tornadoes, heavy rains, and flash flooding. First responders and utility crews have been working to clear roads and restore power to hundreds of thousands of customers. A 4-year-old boy died in Indiana when a tree fell on a home, and a person in Ohio died during a health emergency when first responders couldn't reach them due to flooded roads. A mixed day on Wall Street with the Dow down by 21 points. The Nasdaq rose 143, with the S&P 500 index advancing by 20 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you got to call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-555-2085, 800-555-2085, or biglou.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
Bakersfield leaders are pushing to get downtown added back into a federal program designed to encourage private investment. I'm Rob Archer. Downtown Bakersfield was left out of California's latest list of proposed opportunity zones. The program gives tax breaks to investors who put money into certain areas. City and county leaders say the first round helped to bring new housing and other projects downtown. They're asking the U.S. Treasury to include downtown Bakersfield before the final list is approved later this year. Out of 27 areas proposed in Bakersfield, only a handful moved on for further consideration. A woman accused of vandalizing the Kern County Veterans Memorial is headed for a mental competency hearing. Marina Leanne Smith has pleaded not guilty to felony vandalism charges. Police say she smashed part of the memorial's glass sculpture and damaged another county building. A judge will decide whether she's mentally able to understand the case and help with her defense. Several Bakersfield school districts started classes today, including the Bakersfield City School District and Kern High School District. That means heavier traffic around campuses during the afternoon pickup. Drivers should plan for another traffic headache tomorrow morning. Highway 58 will have repeated 10-minute closures between Mohawk Street and the southbound 99 connector from 8 until noon. The closures are for construction work, and drivers should expect delays or plan on using another route. Kern County Animal Services is holding a public safety meeting tonight about loose and dangerous dogs. It runs from 6 until 9 at Rusty's Pizza on Olive Drive. And temperatures are moving in the right direction. Bakersfield near 100 today with highs in the mid-90s expected Thursday and Friday. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest well in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 12th day of August. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Wouldn't you like to be in Spain today? Do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why?
The Bulls?
Solar eclipse.
Oh.
Big time. I saw it a little bit this morning. It is amazing. And then apparently later tonight, well, it is tonight in Spain, or it was tonight in Spain, middle of the morning now. But you could see, you supposedly be able to see Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and Venus tonight as well. But it did not, the eclipse only touched like part of the East Coast, went from like Alaska and then back around through Spain and through Europe. But we don't get to see much of it. But there's another one coming up in August of 27, I do believe. In the meantime, let's check the board. What else you got, Chris?
Let's see. It makes you wonder if Carolyn Levitt leaving is a result of the duplicate plane. She was a new child and might have said to herself, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't think she was on the plane. I read the highlights of the bigwigs that were on the Duke plane: Rubio, Bessent, Stephen Miller, the White House press corps, members of the Joint Chiefs. If you don't know what we're talking about, coming in the middle of the conversation, And well, if you're listening to me, you know the story. The ruse that the Secret Service did, making the president walk on Air Force One, then sneaking him off Air Force One and having him travel in a military plane. And then they met in Britain, where somehow they got him back on the plane without everybody's knowledge. And he walked off as if he'd been on it the whole time, and he had not. And then they all got on the Qatari plane and flew home, which is another thing that I don't understand, because I thought that was the whole reason for that, because they took the Qatari plane to Turkey, but couldn't take it back home. But yet at some point they could. So I always thought that the threat was that the plane would blow up. But maybe it was that the plane didn't have the maneuvering skills or radar or capabilities to thwart a rocket, a shoulder-propelled rocket or something of that nature. Because why would they fly it home if that weren't the case? I thought it was something like that. They were afraid it would blow up or something like that, but apparently they were afraid of some sort of attack, it seems, because they ended up taking the Qatari plane home from Great Britain. What else you got?
Ralph, the election denier is you. You mean to say that all the fraud shown online, people have been arrested, although they have been small-time offenders, but just the same, it's been happening. I like Mike Lindell, and sorry he lost. Michelle Tafoya will absolutely win her next election because she simply has very basic truths and common sense. Flanagan has Tim Wall's stupidity and the massive fraud following her as she's second in line. She absolutely knew what was happening and did nothing to stop it. There's a whole bunch more, but I'm not going to continue.
Yeah, because he knows nothing. He has absolutely nothing. Knows what he's talking about. You think that Michelle Tafoya, who's never been elected dog catcher, is going to defeat the second in command of the state? That would essentially be like defeating the incumbent governor. She's the lieutenant governor, and she's popular. It's not like I want her to win. I love Michelle Tafoya, always have, and I have enjoyed her as a Fox contributor. I think she's brilliant. I thought that transition, I thought that's what she left sports to do, was to become a political commentator. Little did I know she actually wants to become a politician. I would love to see her win. She's not going to win, not unless something changes drastically. A neophyte doesn't beat a sitting lieutenant governor. I don't know much, but I do know that much. In terms of Mike Lindell, it just goes to show you how screwy you are if you think this guy is straight as an arrow. Just go Google him and see how many times he's been sued. Good people don't get sued multiple times and based on the same charges of fraud. That's been my life experience. I don't know about yours. That's just been my life experience. Good people don't get sued time and time again. Call me crazy. And what's the first words out of his mouth? He ratted out his own party. He claimed an hour after defeat that it was fraud. Mike and Texter, it was a Republican primary. So basically, a Republican just said, the Republicans cheated me. The Republicans are doing fraud. So if that's what you believe, okay. If you believe that the Republicans are cheating, like your pal Mike Lindell, okay, I'll give it to you. I'll become an election denier. Yeah, the Republicans are the ones that are involved with fraud, not the Democrats. Because you say, well, how can you eliminate the Democrats? Because the Democrats would have paid millions of dollars to go up against Mike Lindell. He got beat 43-32. He didn't lose. He got his ass kicked by Lisa DeMuth. And she's the Speaker of the Minnesota House. Neophytes don't beat politicians who are experienced unless they are Richard Nixon. You see what I'm saying? Unless they're involved in some kind of scandal. But if you're a popular elected official, like what was the last time a city council member lost as an incumbent? It was probably somebody who works here, but that's beside the point. But it just doesn't happen. It's hard to lose as an incumbent. But again, one of our employees managed to work it out. Got elected to one term. That is hilarious. But yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. And again, whenever I deal with election deniers, then how did the Republicans win the House and the Senate and the presidency? Did the Democrats just put away their cheating scheme for 24 when in fact Democrats would have chopped off their pinky to keep Donald Trump out of the White House? If you go to Democrats and say, we have to chop off your pinky, but Donald Trump will not be president, people will be lining up. Take it away. I don't drink tea. I don't need my pinky. Are you kidding? And the same thing with Lindell. They would have had a limo to get him to the nomination. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And why you listen to this broadcast, if you feel that way, I just don't understand. I must be better than I think I am. I must be an incredible entertainer. Because for you to be that vehement against everything that I believe, election denying, fraud in elections, that Mike Lindell is a good guy.
And that all that were arrested for election fraud were small-time offenders, too. Remember that part?
Yeah.
Small-time offenders.
Yeah. What else?
Let's see. If you look at the video of the Cunningham incident, the video shows the Fever's head coach on the sideline looking right at the foul. No disputing that.
20 feet away. And like I said earlier in the cast, had it been on the other side of the court, maybe she can get away with, I didn't see it in real time. But you're right. She's standing where coaches stand, like 20 feet from the baseline. Like Steph Curry could have hit a three from where she was standing if she was that close. And if you go back and watch it, she's not even concerned about her player. Like one of your players just got knocked out of midair and landed on her hip. And you're the head coach, and you don't immediately go to your player and say, Sophie, you all right? You okay? All right, hang on. I'm going to go deal with Carrington and this referee. She doesn't do that. That's why she talked about love and humility. Have you ever heard a coach in any sport talk about love and humility and grace? And I would argue, because I've been a coach, I ran a Little League for a couple of years. That's why I'm so excited. It's Little League time. It's Little League time. I got a good story. I don't think I have time to tell it today. Maybe I do. Have you heard about this scandal?
Yes, I have actually.
Yeah, I might talk about that tomorrow. I don't think we have time for it today, but
good, because I have some questions about this scandal. I haven't gotten a chance to actually dive into it much yet, but I have heard the gist of it.
All right, then we got to talk about it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I'll tell you this Little League scandal. And I will tell you this as a former president of Inglewood Little League for 2.5 years. This is so common.
Okay, so it is what I think it is then.
It is so common.
That's the first thing I was thinking as a former football coach for youth. Like, we were running into this issue a lot.
Oh, we had a monster in our league. And I literally, as president, after like 2 challenges, told his parents, you got to get a copy of his birth certificate. And you got to bring it to every game, particularly when we try to get into the World Series. You literally have to bring your birth certificate for this kid every freaking game. This kid was 12, and he was 5'9", about 155, 160 pounds. And everywhere we went, the other team would challenge, that kid's not 12. And he was. He's just a big kid. And I literally had to tell his parents, I hate to do this to you, but you really got to bring your birth certificate to the games. Because the other coaches are complaining. And I know when we get into playing other leagues, the first thing they're going to say is, and he kind of had a mustache, little beard, sideburn. I'm just saying. Quick time out. We'll tell you the story. It's been a bad week for sports. Cheaters. Quick time out. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Wednesday on Newstalk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio.
Want to see something funny? Come here.
KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Federal appeals court ruled the New Jersey's assault weapon law barring possession of a semi-automatic rifle is unconstitutional. The first time a federal appeals court has ruled that a state's assault weapons ban violated the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, so this could be a huge one for here in California. Things could be changing for us gun owners.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Ralph Bailey for Singera Subaru to tell you the Subaru A Lot to Love event is going on right now at Singera Subaru. This is the best time to get an incredible offer on a brand new 2026 Subaru, like a 2026 Outback Premium CVT. Lease one for $229 a month for 36 months with $5,017 due at signing. Offer ends August 31st, so stop by, see my good friends Damon Culbertson and Asad Levy during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Pick out your new Subaru and hit the road. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersfield Auto Mall, 24/7 at sangerasubaru.com.
Lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for $229 a month plus tax for 36 months. Total payments $8,869, $5,017 due at signing. Includes first payment, excludes tax, title, license, and fees. Total lease cost $13,886, excluding tax and fees. TSRP $37,287. No security deposit required. Lease based on 7,500 mile per year, 15 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance Tier 1 SCA credit approval. Expires 8/31/26. Excludes optional products and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY514370.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I might get this wrong because it is a complicated story, and I am 35 years from being a Little League president. But there are certain Little League is really weird, and it's got very, very complicated rules. And one of the rules are obviously the age requirement, and the other requirement is you have to live within the Little League district. There are districts for Little Leagues, and you have to live within that district, unless you have a younger sibling that's under the age of 7 that is playing in the league. Then the older brother can play, but the child has to be under 7. Well, come to find out, this team from Oklahoma not only cheated, but lied about the boy being 7. The boy was actually 10. And they took it to court, and a court was going to make the team that beat them replay them. And the team that won was like, we ain't going, and you can't make us. And I was like, right on. We won fair and square, and there's no way in the world we're going back and playing those guys. And so they basically reneged on that, just said, yeah, they're right. They're not going to. I don't know how they superseded a judge, and it's much more complicated than that. I should have probably just read it, but it's just the idea of a team and just how competitive this Little League thing is to get to Williamsport and all, that they'll do anything. They'll do anything. And it's the greatest dichotomy in the world, because you cannot, I repeat, you cannot run a Little League without parent participation and parent involvement. And yet, ironically, or maybe coincidentally, the worst part of Little League are the parents. They're the single worst part, and it hasn't changed since I was running a Little League in from 85 to 88, 89, maybe it was 4 years. Yeah, because I was at the Sentinel when I was doing that. And the reason I know this is because the only reason I became president was because of chaos and drama. I lived about 2 blocks from the Little League field is why I got involved. I got involved as an umpire just to make a little chump change. I was working at a restaurant, was a waiter, living with my uncle. I just moved in with my uncle. I just told my parents I'm not going back to school. I had done well at Long Beach State, but I just said I can do this without a degree, and I'm not going back to school. And my dad was like, well, you can't stay here. And I was like, I know that. I've already worked it out. And he was like, where are you going? What, big shot? So I'm going to live with your brother. It's the first time I ever see my dad almost faint. And then I heard him get on the phone with my uncle. What, are you crazy? Enabling this boy? We need him to go back to school. You let him. Blah, blah, blah. And so I lived 2 blocks from his place. So I went down there and I just said, hey, you guys need an umpire? And they're like, yeah. And literally the first day I was there, I did 4 games. They're like, can you stay? I was like, can you pay me? Yeah, I'll stay. And I became the president because Inglewood in the 80s was going through this massive transition. When I was a child, and it still is, the single blackest city in California. Did you know that? It really is. It's literally the single blackest city in California. But when I was a child, it was blackity black. I mean, blackity, blackity, black, 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 black. But by the 80s, when I became a young adult, it was like 50-50 Latino black, with the Latino population rising literally every day. That was a little joke, but that's beside the point. And so there was chaos. And, you know, the Latino folks thought that the black kids were meaner to and the black officials were against the Latino kids, blah, 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 blah. And I was literally the only person involved that had no skin in the game. I was 25 years old. I didn't have any children. And I was a pretty damn good umpire. And they all said, well, why don't we let Bailey do it? He doesn't have any skin in the game. He's been a fair official with us. And I coached a really good team, because I had a crappy team that everybody said was going to finish last. And I said, we may not finish first, but I guarantee you we won't finish last. And even my boy, Bill Hernandez, whose sister-in-law I was dating, was giving me crap. He'd come to my practices and go, dude, they're right. You're going to finish last. I was like, no Bailey coach team is going to finish last. And we ended up finishing second. We lost to the number 1 team. We beat them the first game of the season. And this is for me now. I'm not entertaining you. I'm not even doing a radio show. I'm reminiscing in my own mind, just having a good time. We beat them. It was the first game of the season. And we were supposed to be the last place team. We were playing the very first place team, this Mexican kid who was really popular within the league. And that's how he had this good senior team. Because I was coaching the seniors, I think 13 to 15-year-olds, as opposed to the aged kids that go to Williamsport, to the World Series. And the way Javier would do it is he was friends with the kids, and he would help coach the little ones and then groom them to play on his team when they got older. So he dominated this league for years. And that's why they were like, Ralph, you have no chance against Javier. He's got some studs. He knows these kids. They all speak Spanish. And here I am with a bunch of Mexican kids, and they weren't very happy with their black coach that got assigned to them, right? And first game of the season, I tell them, we're going to beat these guys. And they kind of looked at me like, we ain't got a chance. And we beat them 3-2. We beat them 3-2 on a walk-off error. And we celebrated at home plate. And because if we lose there, I lose these kids. But the fact that we beat this club, they started to buy in early. And we vied, and we lost to them in the last game of the season, and we finished second. But the point is, they looked to me to try to settle this thing, and it was a nightmare. As much as I love doing it, because the kids, it's all about the kids. I tell you, my favorite part of the Saturdays was the early part, because that was the T-ball games, I think, started at 8 o'clock. I'd get there at 7, going from Smart and Final and getting the lime. And I mean, I loved it. I loved it. But you had to deal with cheating. It was constant. And we would challenge other leagues just like they would challenge us. And like I said, it's the craziest coincidence or irony that you literally can't run a little league without parents. You got to have somebody in selling the Cheeto boats, the Frito boats, whatever the hell, chili boats, whatever they call them. And you got to have somebody coaching. They got to have them involved. You got to have them involved. And yet they're the worst part of it. Because there's always one coach whose kid is the star. And, they want to, argue about balls and strikes at a Little League game. And it's a weird, weird process. But I love it. And it's just started. The sectionals are just underway. In fact, I was watching one this morning. Final half hour of the broadcast. We will check the board some more. And I think I've got some other stories that we can talk about, including why the supervisors are in favor of splitting up the most powerful, richest state in the union. Yeah, California. Quick time out. Don't go anywhere.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Newly unsealed court records show that a former Southern Poverty Law Center official has been charged in the Department of Justice's broader criminal case against the Alabama-based civil rights group. Heidi Byrich is a political extremism expert who left the law center about 6 years ago. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will be leaving the Trump administration at the end of the month to spend time with her young family. The 28-year-old Leavitt called it a bittersweet decision in a social media post Wednesday, shortly after President Trump announced she'd be stepping down. She is the youngest person in history to hold the role and recently gave birth to her second child. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 21 points, the Nasdaq rose 143, the S&P advanced 20. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Rob Archer. Bakersfield leaders are pushing to get downtown added back into a federal program designed to encourage private investment. Downtown was left out of California's latest list of proposed opportunity zones. The program gives tax breaks to investors who put money into certain areas. City and county leaders say the first round helped bring new housing and other projects downtown. They're asking the U.S. Treasury to include downtown before the final list is approved. Drivers should expect delays on the Highway 58 tomorrow morning. There will be repeated 10-minute closures between Mohawk Street and the southbound 99 connector from 8 until noon. And Kern County Animal Services is holding a public meeting tonight about loose and dangerous dogs. It runs from 6 until 9 at Rusty's Pizza on Olive Drive. I'm Rob Archer in the Kern Newsroom. News every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens, someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large, community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will talk mental health with our friend Dr. Corey Gonzalez, who will come in bringing burritos in probably some form of AI advertisement. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Every day. Surprised you didn't lead off with the Carolyn Levitt news. Well, because that's not a lead story. That's not a big story. I talked about that. Carolyn Levitt is leaving the White House. Just had a baby. She's 28 years old. Oh. And, it's tough. You have no idea what it's like to work in the White House. And the only reason I do is because I had a buddy, Hugh Evans, who I still owe $50 because we went to see the Cars at Santa Monica Auditorium. And I said I'd pay him. It was $25 a seat. I took Debbie Rosenbaum, who then I thought I was going to make out with the next week. I've told this story. The very next week, there was a party. There was always a party. And I took her to see the Cars. We had a great time. Got a little drunk, but we were responsible. I think it was my senior year. And so, you know how in high school, the early part, like we're going to hook up. She likes me. That's the best part. And so we're at this party at Julie Sherman's house, who could be listening because Julie Sherman is Dewar's attorney. That's right. One of my high school classmates graduated with me in 1980. Her name is Julie Sherman. She is the Dewar's. At least that's what she told me. She could be lying, I suppose. And that's what she was telling me. She's like, I'm up there. You got to call me when I'm up there. And it was at Julie Sherman's house, and Debbie Rosenbaum and I were going to hook up. And there's a punchline to this. That's why I'm telling you. I'm not creepy. There's a punchline to this. And my buddy, John Tempero, was the pretty boy. He was the pretty boy shortstop quarterback, dating the most beautiful black girl at our school. I hated him. And so I would always go to him for advice or just whatever. And so that's Saturday night at Julie Sherman's house, and I'm going to hook up with Debbie Rosenbaum. And she throws up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was thinking second, maybe even third base. But anyway, and so I go to Tempero. I go, Temp, Debbie just threw up. And he's all drunk. He goes, come on, Ralph. What's a little food in her teeth? I'm like, anyway, why did I tell that story? I don't know why I told that story. Anyway, Chris should play Girl from Ipanema when the lady walks by in the parking lot.
Ooh,
I like it.
That's a good one.
I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say All I Do since you said Stevie, but
That's what I was thinking. All I do is think about you as she walks by. But
My Girlfriend Panina is so much better. No, we're doing it.
It is. That's
I'll
pretty
get it
good.
cut by next week.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. She smiles, but she doesn't look at me. She doesn't really like RB. Hey, Ralph. Hello, everyone. Ralph phoning in today. I don't know about that. Phoning it in? Really? Does that look like a phoned in rundown to you? Really? Phoning it in?
You don't even know the phrases you use. Like, do you know what that means?
Phoning it in?
Yeah, no, not you. I know you know what it means, but more.
Oh, they know what it means. They're saying that I'm lazy.
I sometimes believe people just say stuff because they've heard someone else say it.
I wish I could like challenge the listeners. Like I wish I could like get that whoever said that to come down here and do a 3-hour show. See how easy it is.
It won't matter.
See if you could phone it in. You can't phone in a 3-hour show.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can't plan that we're going to take a lot of text messages today because there just happens to be a lot of text messages today. And I could talk about what's on my rundown, but I'd rather interact with you all. That's phoning it in. I don't understand why I swear to God, on my father's grave, I would love to just be able to sit down with some of my listeners and say, why do you listen to me? Like, why do you listen to me? You sit and you spend time listening to me, and then you write in and tell me how stupid I am and how racist I am, how inaccurate I am, but yet you listen. And again, this is why I can't stand radio, or one of the reasons I can't stand radio, because those people that write those nasty text messages, they are never going to write my name down on a diary. And that's how ratings are counted. I literally just got one. And JR was like, you better tear it up. And I was like, dude, I've been doing this a while. I know I can't fill it out. You know what gives me away? You could fill it out, but you know what gives me away?
Penmanship.
No, our email.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Ralph Bailey at kernradio.com. That kind of gives me away.
A little bit.
You know what I'm saying?
You have a personal one?
Yeah. And the Nielsen people don't like it when you participate. We cannot participate. But that's what frustrates me, because the people that listen to me but can't stand me, which I don't understand, they're never going to take the $3 or no, it's $2.
$2, I think.
Yeah, I got $2. In fact, I have it in my wallet right now. I swear to God. They're never going to write down my name. They're never going to admit. I hate the SOB, but I listen to them from 3 to 6. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always mystified by that. And the claim that I phone it in, you ain't never done a 3-hour broadcast in your life. There is no such thing as talking for 180 minutes and phoning it in. But I guess it's my time to get beat up on. What else you got on the board there, Mr. Burdick, since we're phoning it in?
Well, and not if we want to go down this path, but the person who was asking for your sources had text back.
Oh, yeah, what did he say?
They just said, reports on whom, my goodness, what or what is your source? I took it upon myself to answer for you. All I did was simply type into Google, how many times did Mr. Mata get, called in on for Genesis? First thing that pops up is KGET. So I grabbed the story, sent it along to him.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
They replied saying, Bailey can call this number if events answers. Don't know what that means or if that's even a sentence.
Say it again.
They said, Bailey can call this number if events answers. Clearly, there's a typo somewhere along the line in that text message that you're not reading, but
you're trying to tell us something.
But hey,
what it is, we'll never figure out, but you're trying to tell us something.
There's your source, though.
But Chris gave you the source.
Go to Google search.
I don't know what astonishes me more, that there are people that hate me that listen to me, or that there are people that actually think that I would say something without any type of attribution or knowledge or, oh, well. What else you got?
Ralph, did you see the reports that say high-speed rail will be out of money by next year, and they need $9.4 billion to keep it going? They haven't even laid a track.
And Gavin keeps lying that he has ever since he came back from Shafter and told that lie that we're laying tracks. He's been running around the country and insisting that we're laying tracks when we're not. Please don't get me started on this train to nowhere. They can't even get Bakersfield to Merced, which again is laughable. Laughable. You know, it is good transportation news, and I'm glad you brought high-speed rail up because that jogged my memory. Did you see the big story out of Meadows or Thomas or whatever the hell we call it, LAX?
Yes.
Bakersfield to LA, 240 round trip.
That's still pretty pricey, though.
Hey, but it solves my issue. You know, I've just finished my task stuff to get my license back because with my mom, I need to be able to get down to LA at a moment's notice. So I'm going to get back on the road. So look out. But if there's an emergency, I'd pay the $250.
Oh yeah,
I would absolutely pay the $250. LAX to downtown, that's a bear. But yeah, we've got a trip to LA to Bakersfield, LA, which could come in great convenience for me when I go to Philly, because I still have not bought my ticket yet. And if I can get a flight out of here, but I'm flying out of Burbank. I forgot. God dang it. I totally forgot. I'm flying out of Burbank. Because flying out of LAX would be much more expensive and just much longer in lines, TSA, et cetera, et cetera. I love Burbank. Although Burbank is the only airport on the planet where I missed a flight. That was the funniest thing in the world. It was Brandon Lang's wedding. And at 63 years old, I'm still not very intelligent because I don't know anybody but Ralph Bailey who gets drunk as a skunk the night before he goes to Vegas. Got drunk as a skunk. I must have had 4 Long Island iced teas, literally. That's not why we lost. Well, that is kind of why we missed the flight. I took a friend of mine, Amy, who's got a new boyfriend I saw. Isn't it weird when you've been messing with somebody? Because we were never boyfriend and girlfriend. We were just good friends who kind of friends with benefits. Although I just said her name. I shouldn't have said her name. You don't know. I lied. Isn't her name? But isn't it weird though when you see, because when you're just kind of messing with somebody, you don't really break up. You just kind of lose contact. And then you look up like 5, 6, 8 months later and they've got like a boyfriend. And at first I was kind of insulted. I was like, she never really wanted to be my girlfriend. I mean, she always wanted to see me, but she never talked about relationship. And I certainly didn't. But what was wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, she goes with me to Vegas and we're flying out of Burbank. She's driving, obviously. And she tells me she's been to Burbank several times, right? So we are about 20 minutes outside of Burbank, maybe 30 minutes outside of Burbank. I mean, we're starting to see planes in the sky. And I fall asleep because I'm hungover like a dog. And I wake up. Now, remember, she told me she's familiar with Burbank Airport, been there many, many times. And I literally wake up. I'm like sleep like this. And I wake up and I look out the window, the passenger window. And I'm like, that looks like Griffith Park. That is Griffith Park. Wait a minute. Amy, we're damn near to my mother's house. We're almost Chinatown. What are you doing? Well, I didn't see any signs. And I'm not putting it on her. She was nice enough to drive and she was wonderful. It wasn't her fault. It was her fault. And so we have to get off. But we were left early enough. We had enough time to make the flight. So we turned back around. We almost had to get off at Stadium Way. That's how far down we were from Burbank. And we turn around, we get back, and there's no parking. We've circled Burbank Airport 3 times, there's no parking. So finally, I'm like, it's starting to get funky. We've got like 20 minutes before the flight leaves. So there's valet parking, but there's a line for valet parking. But there is a pylon in one of the rows there's no traffic. There's a pylon. So I get out of the car and I go, follow my lead, Amy. And I take the pylon and I move it. And I tell her to come into this empty lane where we can valet park. Well, I was smart enough because I had cash because I'm going to Vegas and you got to tip folks. I had a 20 waiting. And a little Asian woman who was going to come and curse me out for moving the pylon starts to come over and starts to curse me out. And before she can even say a word, I slip her the $20 bill. And she says, go right ahead, sir. I'm like, go on, Amy. We get in. Then we're down to about 15 minutes now. So I'm like, listen, this is our strategy. We're going to cut the line. We're going to cut the line. Because if we don't, there's no way we're going to make it in 15 minutes. People are going to snare and yell and scream and holler. Just ignore them, keep your head down, and just keep going forward. So she's got the rollaway bag, I've got the carry bag, and we're just going, hey, what are you doing? You can't cut the line. No, I'm just keep going, Amy, just keep going. We get to the front of the line, and I go, look, we're getting married in Las Vegas in about 3 hours. Our flight leaves in 15 minutes. You mind if we cut the line? And the first three people kind of look at each other. They didn't even know each other, and they kind of look at each other like, I don't believe your story, but go ahead. And Amy, this is why I liked Amy. She's like, no, we really are. We're getting married. Covered up. So we get up, we run to the gate, and I see the yellow plane. So I'm like, we made it. We made it. And we get there, and there's a little Latino kid leaning up against the door. And we're like, we're here. I was like, sorry, the plane's left. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's sitting right there. Well, technically it's left because we've closed the door. We've given the papers to the pilot. And once we do that, God Almighty could come down here and we can't open the door. And we went at it and back and forth, and I offered to give him money and blah, 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 but no dice. And so this was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the next flight was at 3:30. So I call Randy and JR, and they give me crap. And JR texts me back, and he texts me, do you realize you could literally jump in her car right now and get to Vegas before your 3 o'clock flight? And I'm like, yes, I realize that, JR. Thanks for rubbing it in. But I think we're going to kick it here and watch the Georgia-Mississippi State game and fly out at 3 o'clock. That's the only flight I have ever missed in my life. And there have been some close ones. There have been some close ones. And I would go back and forth to Atlanta, and Temp and Skelly would dump me off at LAX. There were some close ones, but I had never missed a flight in my life until Brandon Lang's wedding. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back, wrap this thing up, check the board, get the Sam Hill out of here. Tomorrow's a Thursday. Mr. Turnipseed promises he'll be live in studio. We'll wait and see at 4 o'clock. And then our money man, Daniel Petrie, at 4:30. Inflation ticked up just a bit, just a skosh. We'll talk about that with Mr. Petrie tomorrow. And whatever else happens between now and 3:05 when I apparently phone it in. That's amazing to me. Just because you have no idea how much effort I put into this broadcast. That is, if you want to get at me, don't insult me. Say stuff like that I'm lazy or that I just kind of phone in shows. Couldn't be farther from the truth. And I would love to see you entertain people for 180 minutes. I would pay money to see that. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KE.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. So Roxanne Romero, the personal administrative assistant up at the Tehachapi Unified School District, got arrested for being a mandated reporter and not reporting on Timothy Seaman, who's accused of molesting girls at the elementary school. Yet, Zach Scrivener's mother, who was in the house that infamous night at Tehachapi, she's still on the school board. She's a mandated reporter, and she, according to the sheriff, committed a crime. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Michael Turnipseed promises he'll be live in studio, and then via the Rogers Brand Global Telephone Network, our money man, Daniel Petrie, all that, plus me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
Eyes with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Did you know termites can silently feast on your home for 3 to 4 years before you see any damage? They can literally eat a bedroom wall in less than 2 years, causing major structural damage to your biggest investment. Don't wait for the evidence to appear. Ryan's Termite is running an early bird special. If you know or even suspect that you have termites, get on Ryan's schedule now for an additional 10% off our already lowest price. All work is guaranteed. There's no money down and no contracts. Plus, in most cases, you won't even have to move or tent your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryan's today. That's Ryan'sTermiteControl.com.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security with burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and
It's like 2.5 minutes. No, you got about 5 here.
Flores, catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
There's so many topics we haven't discussed this week. Just because it's been such a busy week and we've been phoning it in all week. Yeah, you touched a nerve. That really pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. I wish I could say I had thick skin, but when you have a rundown like that and somebody says that you freaking phone it in, it's like, get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you try to entertain you people, and somebody accuses me of being lazy. It just pisses me off. Anyway, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Tuskegee Airmen. It's a great movie. Or Red Tails. I mean, there have been so many great pictures. One has Lawrence Fishburne in it. One has David, the African guy that plays American roles. I can't remember his name. But I didn't know the real story of the origin of the Tuskegee Airmen. And as certainly not a graduate, but as a student of a historically black college, I felt like I should turn in my black card when I heard this. This is a relative of Benjamin O. Davis Jr., whose father was a brigadier general, and he later became a brigadier general after he got affiliated with the Tuskegee Airmen. But this is how the Tuskegee Airmen got on its feet and what Benjamin O. Davis Jr. had to go through to be the creator of the Tuskegee Airmen. This is a great story.
But the crazy part of this story was when he got into West Point in 1932, he's fair-skinned, so they didn't know his race. So when he arrived, they realized that he was mixed, and which meant he was black. So they held him in the commandant's office and told him to wait under a sign that said duty, honor, and country. And they assigned him a converted janitor's closet. He goes to sleep that night in the janitor's closet, and they have a meeting the next morning, and they say, we accidentally let a black cadet in. You are to treat him as if he's invisible until he drops out. Every student, every faculty, every staff was in the meeting but one person. They got out of the meeting, and for 4 years, he went to West Point 50 weeks a year with not one human interaction. It is unbelievable what this man went through. And all he wanted to do was be a pilot in the United States Army and do the career that his dad had. And right before he graduates, they tell him they don't allow blacks to fly airplanes. So they told him, we will pay you if you honorably discharge. We will start a law firm for you in Chicago, and we will pay for you to move there and go to law school if you agree to drop out. So even after 4 years of no one talking to him, and he's in the top third of the class, he failed 3 classes that require a partner: boxing, ballroom dancing, and CPR, because no one would touch him or talk to him. Never called out in class, never a study buddy, whole campus segregated. Went to the West Point Army-Navy game on a bus by himself to Yankee Stadium with a black driver. This is what was going on at West Point. So now he graduates. Blacks can't command whites. Him and his dad are the only 2 black officers. They go to black colleges for 4 years, telling young students, keep their head up, stay tight, stay focused. World War II is about to start. Roosevelt wants to win the black vote, hires the father to be the head of black policy in America, and says, what do I need to do to win the black vote? He says, you have to start looking at the military as fair, which means allowing blacks to do all the jobs that whites do. And he goes, well, what should I do next? He goes, you should allow blacks to fly airplanes. And he goes, well, who would lead that? And he said, my son. Next day, his son goes down to Tuskegee, Alabama, passes the flying test. And then the president says, if you could get more blacks qualified down here, you could start a segregated Air Force. And because he had gone to black colleges for 4 years, he snapped his fingers. 35,000 black Americans went down. They hired 15,000. 1,000 pilots, 14,000 ground staff, commanded by a guy who went to West Point, and not one single person talked to him. And that's the story of the Tuskegee Airmen.
That's incredible. That is an awesome, awesome story. And if you don't know the story of the Tuskegee Airmen, go watch Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen with Lawrence Fishburne. It's an incredible story because they were incredibly capable. And after the white guys realized it was life and death, they requested the Tuskegee Airmen. Want to thank Lily Marsh for joining us. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will rap to you tomorrow.
Current Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. There's a major staffing change coming at the White House. Willie Nelson has the latest.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will step down at the end of the month to spend time with her young children and family. President Trump said Leavitt will remain one of his top outside advisors and called her one of the best press secretaries in the history of the office. The president thanked her for her work since 2018, including during the 2024 campaign. Willie Nelson, the White House.
In a statement, Leavitt said that I have felt in my heart that I cannot be the best mom my 2 young children deserve while devoting the constant time, energy, and attention required of the White House press secretary. And that is why I have ultimately made the bittersweet decision to depart the White House. Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham, said it was a very emotional evening as she advanced